right, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us on this amazing show, Let's Talk 1943. I'm bringing something special to y'all today. I have actually a program that's called Wring Out Your Sponge. So what I'm doing today is actually doing the Wring Out Your Sponge, the relationship edition, right? And I have some special guests here today that's going to be able to bless all of us with some great knowledge and information. And we're going to kind of have something else that's going to be different. We're going to have a studio audience asking questions at the end. So we are just elevating and growing. And I'm just so glad you're coming with me on this journey on Let's Talk 1943. So I'm your host, Regina Smithwick, so everybody knows who I am. But I want to go ahead and introduce my panel of guests. I'm so excited. They came from different states, Virginia and Maryland in the house. And I'm so glad that y'all here today. Yes. So I'm going to start with Miss Clarissa Y. Law. She is a transformational coach. So thank you for coming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this opportunity to share my story. I think one of the biggest things that we people tend to not understand is that our story happens to us, but it happens for someone else. So I'm so excited to share whatever story that I'm led to share today to help someone else heal.
That's right. We're going to let God lead it, right?
Yes.
It's going to come out what it is.
Yes.
And, one more thing. She's a member of the most amazing sorority of the world, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Z5. Got to get that in, y'all. Got to get that in. But let's talk about transformational coach. Explain to us what that is.
So I just believe that if we learn something different, we will do something different. And in order for us to transform, just like your topic says, wring out your sponge, you have to get out the old, right? You have to dig out the old, and you have to be willing to take in new information. So many times we live the way we live because it's the way that we have lived.
Oh.
Right?
Say that one more time.
We live the way we live because it's the way we have always lived, whether it's the mother, our grandmother, our grandfather, whomever it is. We just continue in cycles, and we don't realize that they are dysfunctional cycles. And so in order to transform, you have to say, I'm willing to release the old and take on new information so that I can be new. And so that's part of what my coaching is helping you discover who you have always been, right? When we were born with everything in us, but life strips it away. And so that's my purpose of what I provide to my clients, is to help them to just learn new information and discover who they've always been. You've always been strong. You've always been enough. You just didn't know it.
Amen. Yes. We already, look, God's already in here already.
Yes.
So I'm going to go to my next panelist, Andrea Stuckey now, M.
Yes.
Stuckey. I got your M in there. She's a master divorce coach. So I'm going to ask you the same question. What is that? What is a master divorce coach?
Okay, so a master divorce coach, I'm a life coach. I specialize in working with divorced women. Having been divorced twice myself, I help women rebuild, redefine, and liberate their lives following separation or divorce. Divorce is such a difficult time. I think that because there are so many divorces, right? Half of marriages end in divorce. Sometimes we minimize the effects in society, but people are hurting, women are hurting. And having gone through that journey myself, I just help people rebuild their lives. We'll talk about that on today.
Definitely. We're going to get into that.
Yes.
Divorcees in the panel?
More than one.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's more than 50%. That's 100 right
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
So we're
Yes.
going to definitely talk about that. Okay.
We'll talk
so
about the fast
we'll talk to
pace.
my sis here, Kendall Lenise. She's the remix coach. Now, I ain't never heard that before.
Right.
Like, you, the remix coach. So you got to break that down for my audience. What's the remix coach? Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
So, welcome to my show, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm so glad to be a part of this panel, and thank you for the invite. It's so important. So the remix coach, I believe it's never too late to remix your life at any stage, age, or phase. You can remix your life. You can remix your relationships. You can remix your career, your love life. You can remix your life in its totality, because we know life, when you keep bumping your head or you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, we all know what that is, right? But sometimes you have to breathe life back into yourself, and that's remixing it. And sometimes remixing is just not an option. It's a necessity, and it's a matter of life and death. Because you can't continue to keep doing the same things the same way and wonder why things continue to stay the same way.
Right,
You know, it's not rocket science, but you know, it's folks don't understand that. And you don't want life to get stale because it takes the joy out. It takes the peace. It takes the happy. And sometimes life can wear you out. I remember comedian Tracy Morgan said after his big accident, he said, life has teeth and it bites. You know, and that stuck with me because it does bite. And sometimes life be lifing. We know God be Godding, but life be lifing. And if you don't have the proper tools to remix your life, then you're going to keep doing the same thing. So what we want to do is change behaviors. We want to heal in that way and change the behaviors that some of us has. As you said, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. So it's time to remix our lives so we can begin to heal.
And the funny part, everyone kind of said something. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? And we did the same thing over and over again. And we finally came out of that. And now where we at doing this because we finally got it. And you said something else. You said it's not rocket science.
No.
But it isn't, but it is. It's something obviously holding us back. If everybody could do that as easy as a rocket, not being rocket science, we'll all be walking around here living in our purpose.
Yes, but everybody's got stuck on stupid, right? Everybody has been in a space where you're stuck on stupid, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, where you're just not getting it. It's not rocket science. You're trying to understand. That's why it's so important. We're talking about relationships, and I'm sure we're going to get into this, but it's so important to take moments to heal. And so many people go from relationship to relationship, and it's the little boy and it's the little girl trying to figure it out, and no one's healed.
Right.
So you have to intentionally take time for yourself to say, why do I do this way? Why am I defensive this way? Why do I respond this way? What is that about? It's about excavating all of that. You know, when a construction worker is building a new house, right? That foundation has to be right. But most people don't pay attention to the foundation, the family of origin, until they see the cracks. So then they go back to the origin. But when you're a builder is building a house with construction, you get the excavators out there. They have to dig up the land. They have to make sure when they set that foundation that it's strong, that it's going to last. And if you can't skip that step, and most people skip it. So you see what happens to houses when they start leaning to the left, start leaning to the right, stuff start cracking. Exactly. So you got to get all of that that gook out and excavate all of that, right? And then you start building or rebuilding or remixing.
So I'm going to ask you this, because you're the divorce master here. Every time I think of that, I want to do white on. Wax on.
Daniel's son.
Kendall said something that is relevant to being divorced. You do it over and over again. And one of the things is people get married over and over again, right? So tell me, why do people don't see the benefits of healing when it comes to remarrying? Like, what is that about?
Yeah, because generally, we all think that we're not at fault. We all think in our humanness that, yes, we are great, right? And we want to blame other people, right? So oftentimes, if you even look at statistics, as a person remarries, the divorce rate increases. So from a second marriage to a third marriage, the chances of that relationship or marriage failing increases. Oftentimes because people aren't doing any type of work to change their behaviors or really become self-aware. And I think that's the power of coaching, not only in divorce, but coaches in general, is because we bring an outside view, if you will. In our own minds and our own experiences, we are in a limited space, if you will. And so sometimes having someone else be able to identify or look or challenge us in our behaviors can bring about some change. So that's what I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because you see people, and as they get married again and again, just like where people go, it's like the third time, they're like, look, you ain't getting no gift. Look, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Look, the first one I flew out there, I sat in the audience. The second one I sent you against. The third one you get nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the bachelorette
Like, you don't know what you want.
Right.
No parties, no
Bachelorette party.
That's
Okay.
because people haven't stopped to intentionally do the work.
Right.
And they're
Exactly.
looking for the healing in the other person. And that's where it is. But the beautiful thing about relationships, you can help one another heal.
Yes.
I remember as a coach, I used to say, you have to be on your healing. Well, you definitely have to be on your healing journey. Don't date anybody that's not on their healing journey,
Right.
especially if you're there. But I used to say you have to be healed and then go into one.
Yes.
But it's not that.
Right.
You can help each other heal. It's not your duty, it's not your job, but you'll have the best relationship when you heal together because you don't know what that person can give you or that or you can give that person. And that is the ultimate level of partnership.
Yes, it is.
So if you're in that relationship, because we know that relationships being as intimate as they are a mirror.
Yes.
Right? So sometimes in that relationship, it'll show you a person that you never knew, you never
Right.
saw before.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So that's that part of the healing that needs to work. And if you have that right partner, you can understand what you were perpetually doing in the past relationships. So it's a great way to heal and to be better, for yourself. And it's purposeful.
Yes.
Because we talk about purpose partnership. That is
Yes.
a purpose.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's,
You
that's
know?
something else we're
Yeah.
gonna definitely tag into. But I want to get back to Ms. Law here because I want you to tell me, how do you help people get outside of their limited beliefs to do a transformation? Because one of the key things is they limit themselves to believe that they could go further or do something different. So what do you have to offer them to say, hey, that's not true?
So just that, I teach them ways to think about themselves differently. I've worked with so many people that they don't see the good in themselves. And I start off with simple things like, what are you grateful for? What have you done in your life? How many of us have beat ourselves up until we just take a step back and look at our wins, right? And that is a way to build your confidence. So I start people off with, what are you grateful for? Let's talk about the things you have done. You might be in this stuck place today, but look at what you have done, right? And look at the things that you have accomplished or the effect that you have made. A lot of times, again, people have their mothers in their head, their fathers in their head. And that was really my story. I was navigating this life not feeling good enough, a fear of rejection in every area of my life. So if I can help a person understand that you are enough just the way you are. We all have purpose. And if you understand that you came into this world with everything that you need, and it doesn't matter where you came from. That was a part of my healing, to understand that God gave me a purpose regardless of the family I came through, right? And that's what I held on to. But once I had an understanding that my life is my life, whether I had to come through the family I came through for me to stand in my purpose today. And I didn't get that from my mother. I got that from God and understanding his word that says he formed me, he knew me, he set me apart, and he wrote all of the days of my life in a book. And that included my mother in that book. That included the relationships that didn't work. That included that short marriage. It included all of that to make me who I was
That's right.
today. And so to help people understand that, it happened for a reason.
That's right.
It happened for a reason. And if we can, I have a message that I teach, if we can redefine your pain, because we get stuck in the pain of a situation.
So you talking?
If we can redefine it and say, but who are you because of that? Who did you become because of that? Then you can move forward in your healing, because we can no longer give the other person the power. Right? We have to take our power back and say, this is who I am as a result of that situation. I am aware of this because you did this to me. I'm aware of this because I had this experience. I'm not going to accept this because I've had this experience. And so I truly believe that if we can learn to redefine the pain and look at who we are today because of that, then we can be transformed.
And we can definitely be transforming. And what I'm hearing a lot of in what you just said is mindset.
Mindset.
Mindset is the big thing, and I think
As a
in
man
all
thinker.
our practices, and when we do coaching one-on-one or whatever way we do it, it's the mindset, and that's the place you got to start, because that's the place that has to be changed. Because
Yes.
without that being changed,
Yes.
you're wasting your time.
Yes. Doing the
same
And,
thing.
or they're not ready to receive.
Yes.
A lot of times people are not ready to receive, right? But our job is to plant the seed.
Yes.
When you plant the seed, it takes time to grow sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
they ready.
Yes.
They
Yes.
tired of being tired. They
Yes.
tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
So they ready. Then some people, they don't really believe it, but they heard you and it sits there. And then eventually you'll see a little sprout come up and then eventually they get there. But I think a lot of times even with me, even personally with people in my life, that when you transform, don't you see the world differently? Like you look out for you, you're going,
Yes, because you
When you
attract
take those
what you
roles-
I know
think.
y'all were off
Yeah.
too.
When you take the rose-colored glasses
Yes,
off.
yes,
Yeah, when you
Right.
see everybody else
Yeah.
Yes.
differently, like you don't see them. It's like the Matrix. What pill you taking, the green
Right,
or the red?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because I thought you was like that. No, it was because my perception.
Because
was
of
that.
you.
That's the way I thought
Because
about
of you.
myself.
Right.
I saw people differently, and
Yes.
now I see them and who they are. It's nothing bad with them, but now I get it. I attracted to you because of the way
Because
I
of
were.
me, yes.
And it could,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and how you grew up.
Yes.
That all
Yeah.
plays in your experiences. That all plays into how you view the world, how you view people.
Yes.
Your experiences. If you've never experienced trust, if you've never been safe,
Right.
you know, you're going to be looking for somebody to do something. If you've never experienced certain things, or you have in a negative light, then that's going to be your vantage point. That's going to be your view. It's almost like taking the glasses off from your past and what you've been through and putting on a new set of glasses. You ever, you
Get
know, we
adjusted.
wear glasses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You
get
get your
adjusted.
prescription.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it stays the same, sometimes it's differently, and you see things different. You be like, oh, I didn't know that sign was right there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's all about perspective. But as you were talking, God said nothing is wasted.
Nothing
Count it
is
all
wasted.
joy.
No regrets,
No,
none.
nothing is
Yes.
wasted. Everything. I love what you
Yes.
said, because everything that we've been through and we experience it. We're educated women up here. We have degrees. We have certifications.
Yes.
But we have life experience.
Yes.
Experience.
And as a life coach, that's the best thing you can have. You can throw my degrees in the
Right.
trash, but I don't throw them in the trash.
Right.
But you
They're
can
pay too much for
necessary.
you
mine
can,
later.
right, that's what I'm saying. You can put them on the shelf, right?
Right. I get what
And
you're
this
saying.
just go by your experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, think about the collective experience we all have.
On this
Right.
couch,
You
man.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Not even the education piece.
Yeah, because
Right,
we didn't
just
even
a-
mention
Right.
that
We
part,
didn't even
right?
men- 'cause
If
it's
we
not
even
about
mention
that.
that, it's necessary. But
Exactly.
it's who we are in our lives.
Exactly.
And what better person can tell me anything
That part.
unless you've had the experience?
That part.
Absolutely.
That part.
Yeah, because a lot of times you can
That
have
part.
the theory, but don't have the
Like, yeah, I
experience.
hear you.
That's
You
what
what
you
have
have
you
It's
to-
just
experienced?
like telling somebody about childbirth, reading what to expect when you're expecting. And I remember with my first
Everybody-
daughter, I was like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Right.
Okay, I never had a baby. You got to do this, got to do that. And then when you have a baby, it's totally different.
for
You have the
sure.
experience.
Yes.
Or I never had a baby, but I can tell you, so childbirth is going to feel like this. How do you know?
Right.
know?
How do you know?
You know what I mean? So when you know, you have to, it's almost that back in the day, each one teach one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You
love
know,
that.
and that's how we help our communities, because if we heal ourselves and we're healing our communities turn into the world.
Yes.
If everyone took the initiative to say, you know what, I have to heal. You know, I
Right,
have
I
to
need
do
to pause.
some works.
Right.
I need to
Right.
pause,
Pause.
and I need to get this together. If everyone did that, just imagine, because we're healing our families.
Yes.
We're healing
Yes.
our communities.
Yes.
And ultimately, we're healing the world and each other.
I have two parts with that. So when you take the responsibility to heal, right? Think about it. You take the responsibility for your legacy or your family.
Yes.
Because you got to train them how to do
Yes.
that.
That's
Yes.
right.
So you're going to be the odd person. You're going to be the one that's going to say,
Always.
she's a little off. Something's going on
Always.
with her. Or when you used to be the people pleaser,
Been there, done that.
and then you start saying no,
Yes.
that people are like, we mean no. Why?
Yes.
But I trained them because
You taught them how to treat
You
used
teach
to-
people how to
taught
treat
them how to
you.
treat
I
you.
used
Yes.
to tell them why.
Yes.
I give them an explanation. They go, well, you could do it at 2. You could do it at 4.
No.
You got time. So, and then you end up doing it, right?
No is a
So
full
same way you
sentence.
train them to do that, you could train them to do the opposite.
For
so
sure.
like, no, when they look at you, you say no, you just blink
You know what that's called?
and keep blinking at them.
It's called boundaries.
Yeah,
It's
just
called
keep- just
boundaries,
keep- Just
yes.
keep blinking at them and
Yes.
say no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
It
I'm
really
grateful
is.
that I'm healed from my no
And then the second
season.
Yeah. Because normally you explain, you feel obligated to explain.
And now I don't
Yeah.
explain.
I don't do that.
Nope.
When
Yeah.
I was younger,
I
I'd be
did
like,
the same
no, because
Yep.
I used to
gotta-
say no and change my mind. I used to say no and change my mind.
Like, how I'm gonna do all this in 24 hours? Go to the baby shower, go to the wedding,
you
come
jump
up and
and
do
you
your
stretch
hair.
your
and
arms
all
out.
You're
that.
overbooked.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're overbooked.
No, I used to feel obligated to explain my no. Now I say no.
And that's it.
No, practice saying it different ways. No.
Right.
And then have a good day.
No, thank you.
I hope that does work out for you because I
Yes.
do want to see you win. But
Right.
at
Yeah.
this time, I'm
not
unable to do
available.
I
it.
love it.
I'm not gonna be able to do it. There used to be a rap song.
Ain't gonna be able to do it.
I'm not gonna be able to do it.
I used to say
Yeah.
I used to
You know
say
it's
no and
powerful.
change my mind. Like go back and change, especially when people needed help. But it burnt me every
Because
time.
you're looking about what are they
It's
going to
burnt
think
me every
of my
time.
no.
Well, what are they gonna do, and what is gonna happen if I don't
Right.
help
You overthink.
them?
You
Now
overthink.
no comes
They
with a
figure it
dance. You
out.
like, no.
Yeah.
No,
Not today. Not today. Right. Remix that no.
No,
Yes.
no.
We
How
had
about
a
that?
conversation last night. Okay, so let me just one more thing. So on top of that, I think people are scared to make mistakes because they feel that the people are gonna look at them and
Yeah.
judge them, and because a lot of times people who don't do anything and feel stuck don't do it because they think people are going to judge them because they judge other people.
Right.
Right? So you feel stuck. So I'm going to ask you about being stuck. So when you're married and you feel stuck because you go, okay, I'm going to give you a two-parter. So I have friends who actually walked down the aisle and knew that day they was not supposed to get married. They knew it, but they guess what they thought about?
I did that too.
Aunt Sarah, she paid this money for this airline ticket.
I did it.
Oh, they paid money for these gifts, and they did all
I
this
did it.
stuff, and you're literally thinking about everybody else and not thinking about the marriage of I'm with this person for
rest
supposed to
of your
be
life.
rest of my life,
Right.
and I'm worrying about an airline ticket. But at the moment, you feel so obligated to,
I
'cause your
canceled the
family.
marriage before the date. I still have the wedding gown. Everybody had their dress, their tux, invitations, and everything. And things were happening. I said, if you're doing this before we get married, you're going to do this after
Girl,
we
you
get
said
married.
no.
And I called the wedding off. And
Good for
people,
you.
I was like, I'm sure people are going to be disappointed. But so many people came to me and said, I am so proud of you.
Yes.
I am so proud that you made that decision because I believe when I get married, I only want to get married once. But he was already doing stuff. So if you think you have permission to do this now, you will do it in the marriage. And I ended it. I still have the David's bridal wedding gown in my closet right now.
And you said no. That's
I
the
said,
ultimate no.
That's
I
big,
said, I'm
man.
not doing
Yeah.
this. I'm not doing this.
That's a big girl no.
Yeah.
So here comes
Yeah.
the wax
Wow.
on, wax on. So tell me what that stuck feeling is, or answer the first part about the wedding. Why do people get? And these are two people right here, right next to you, that did the same thing. So why do you feel that people feel obligated to get married to someone even though they know they're not supposed to?
Well, I think it's like she said, a couple things. It's people pleasing. It's your environment, your self-love, how much you love and care about yourself. You're viewing other people higher than what you view your needs for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And that's big. It can be low self-esteem. You don't feel, or you may feel like I should be glad that I'm getting married. I didn't think I was going to get married, whether it's the person
That's
it's
it.
for you or not, right? So some self-esteem issues, some self-love issues, boundaries, lack of boundaries, right? As she was saying, in terms of, hey, it doesn't matter what other people think if they spent a ticket or if they bought a gown, but looking at those things.
And a lot of people probably, when in your instance, people probably were talking about it already. And they was like, "Oh, we gonna go this way. I wish you went, man."
Because we was in the church and you was doing it right and you felt like you should do this. You should. And I said, no, I can't do it.
And then some people are scared of the loneliness, or quote unquote,
Sure.
the way
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
says you're nobody without a man.
Right.
You can't be happy without a man.
Society
Right.
You have to be
expectations.
married to be happy, and it's like no, no, and no.
And
Because there's a
no.
lot of people that's married that's not happy.
Right.
So why we never talk about
It's
that?
a
Because your
self-betrayal.
situation, you had the you
That's
did the
great.
same
It's
thing.
self-betrayal.
Yes.
That's what that is. I have betrayed myself a number of times. It's totally putting what you need and what you desire and what you want, putting somebody before you. And that's exactly what it is. It doesn't have anything to do with me not loving me or my self-esteem being low. It's about you being so gracious, right? Even when your discernment says you know better than God. Think about it. When you do those things and your discernment says no, but you betray yourself and you betray your God, it's almost like you know more than him. And I have, you know what I'm saying? And I have betrayed myself. I no longer do that. I have betrayed myself and made excuses for people because I am in the people business, right? Because I understand people and how they operate and what the background story is and how they need to heal. So I would give people the ultimate benefit of the doubt. My oldest daughter was like, we're not giving people the benefit of the doubt no more, Mom.
Right.
We're not doing that. She shut that down. She's 31. She shut that down. She's like, no, you're too kind. You give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's because of what I do and what I know.
Wow.
But I no longer do that. It doesn't serve me well.
No,
Yeah.
it
You know, to
doesn't.
betray
Self-betrayal.
myself.
That's good.
And I remember Jada in her book, she was talking about self-betrayal. When I was reading, I almost threw the book across the room because I knew what she was talking about. You know, she was talking about an incident with her husband and how she put what he would look like or his view over her because of that protection, as often women do. And it's like, even if it's the smallest thing, if it's something that your heart is saying no to, but you're putting someone else before that, you're betraying yourself.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And
That's- I love
ultimately,
that.
that-
Yeah,
I
I,
like
was gonna
that.
say, I never thought of it in that way.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's important to love yourself before you even get into a relationship?
Well, the word tells us to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So how can you love someone else properly when you don't love yourself
Come on.
properly?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
And we do this over and over again, wondering why. Because what'll happen is you're going to get upset with the fact that someone else is not loving you the way you want to be loved. That's because you're not loving yourself the way you need to
Right.
be loved.
Right.
But when you are able to fill your own cup in a variety of ways, physically, socially, emotionally, then you have a greater capacity for someone else to come
Yes.
in. And when they're not going to be perfect.
Right.
So where their shortcomings are, you already have that because you're filling that
Yes.
cup yourself.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes.
a good answer.
That's
That's a good
that's what I believe. I believe you have to truly love yourself in order to truly love somebody else. And what does that look like? I am a whole person, right? I love me. I don't need you to fill something in me, right? I don't need you to complete something. You were talking about healing together, and that's good when both people on their healing journey. But I also believe there should be the space and time between a relationship
100%.
because when you were in that other relationship, you gave something of yourself. You gave something of yourself emotionally, mentally, physically even. But you need time to replenish
Yeah.
what you gave in that relationship. And so that's why that time of being by yourself is important so that you
Critical.
can find you again and become whole, whatever whole looks like for you,
Right.
so that you can love yourself completely so that you can love that other person
And
completely.
I want to piggyback off that because we have to stop saying, I'm half, he's half, and now we
I'm
make each other
whole.
whole. They completely.
Yes,
Where
I'm
do
whole.
they do that at?
Yes.
That's no.
Yes.
You got to be 100%. They got to be
Yes.
100%, and you come together.
Yes.
And it's almost like when you don't love yourself and you get into a relationship, it's almost like going to a hairstylist and her hair is jacked up.
right.
Really, you know what I mean? Or going to a nail salon and their nails are all
Right.
Yeah.
messed up. So how are you going to extend something that you're not even doing for yourself?
Right,
Yes.
So
right.
you're a hairstylist, but you're not even doing your own hair.
Right.
But then you want to do somebody
Somebody
else's.
else's.
Think about it. So it's
Yeah.
like you want to love someone else and outsource that love, but you're not loving yourself. And it all starts with you.
Yes.
Like I will hang with myself, I will laugh with
Yes,
myself, I
yes.
will go out on solo
I
date,
love
I will have a
Clarissa.
good
Yes,
time.
We enjoy each other.
And I don't need, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? That's when you know.
That's when you know.
When you're afraid to be alone or
Yeah,
when the
that's
lights go
it.
off, you don't know
Yes.
what
That's
to
it.
do with yourself.
That's it.
That's where the healing needs to start.
Exactly.
That's a
Yes.
point right there where you're saying, well,
Boom.
why? Why do I always need somebody around? You should be able to be okay. And then when you're with somebody, it's an addition.
It's an addition.
Exactly.
It's an
It's
addition.
complementary. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not the
like
totality of
right,
it.
right. It's just
Yes.
a bonus.
I had a-
It's a plus, not an equal.
I always
sign.
think that you date who you are, or you
Yeah.
date where you at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you look back at your exes, you go, "What in the world was I thinking?"
Yeah.
Like
We're
what
not
in
on the
Y'all do
same
that
level.
too? Y'all
Yes. I can remember actually telling
sometimes
someone,
I can figure
I
it
can't
out.
date you right now because the level that I'm on right now, I'm not staying here. You're meeting me at this level, but I'm not staying
Come
here.
on.
So I can't date you right now because I know I'm progressing.
But of course, when
Are
you're
you
in it-
progressing? I don't see you. I'm going to keep
Of course,
going.
when you're in it, you don't see it. That's the
Right,
whole point.
right.
But when you come out of it, that means there's some growth that happens.
Yes.
So you
Absolutely.
can look back and go, "Why did I date
What?
this person?"
What
Because
wasted
at that
time.
that's where you was at.
Yes.
And some kind of need he was fulfilling
Yes,
at that
yes,
moment.
yes.
So if you wasn't feeling good about yourself, yeah, he could have been a narcissist. He could have been, whatever. But he fed you something.
Gave you
They
something.
gave you something to make you feel good about yourself.
Even
And
if it was
though,
false.
Even though it was false, or even
Right.
though y'all were codependent on each other,
Yes.
whatever the case is. But he did something for you for that moment
Yeah.
of time. That's why it's important to heal, ladies and gentlemen, because when you heal, you're not looking for that from another person.
Right.
Like, we all just said, you're looking for a bonus, not bonus, but, that's an addition to who you are. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm good, but, you made it a little better, and but when you leave, I'm not devastated because I love myself.
You might be relieved.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times when you see people leave people and they devastated, and I know you deal with that a lot,
for
devastation, because they didn't even love themselves enough to realize that, woo, I feel peace now. I feel good now. Like when I have relationships, it's like I feel whoa, I feel better. I feel like myself again. I'm like, okay, let's go back and live.
Like the Wizard of Oz when the Wicked Witch, when he pulled the house up. It's like, woo, I didn't know a house was on me. They pulled the house up. Look, your legs all like this. I'm like, wait a minute.
That is so true, though. That is so true until you come out. And it's like this relief.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an indicator of how unhealthy that relationship was.
Yeah.
When you can
100%.
breathe. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
you would definitely
if I can speak
Tony
to
Braxton,
something about the
breathe
healing,
again. Oh,
sure,
I
go
think
ahead.
it's important. I have training in trauma, and I think it's important. Sometimes we go into relationships and we're not healed, and we don't even know what we need to be healed from. So that's why it's important to really dig deep and do the work in ourselves to find out how were we affected from our upbringing, how were we affected from our parents or whatever situations may have happened to us. Let me address those things first before I even try to bring somebody into it. But we think that is the healing. Like if we really talk about it, I have a saying, it really doesn't take much for people to come together because you're looking at a physical connection, but you don't think about the mind connection. And then now you have another generation and then another generation, whereas you should have done some work on yourself before you started this next
so far
generation.
behind. That's why we are so important out here. And that's why life coaches and counselors and therapists are so important because we are getting so far behind the 8 ball, especially with social media and the way the world is rolling now. Everything's so superficial and nothing's substance no more. Everything's surface. Like, oh, I can't date you. Why? Because your shoes are terrible. And I mean, I can't date you because your shoes. Really, we at that point that we look at somebody's shoes and just judge everything about a
where
person.
they work, what they drive.
And you don't know what they do. I could see if you have some information, but you just basing on that.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And that's where I think a lot of us go
And he could have
wrong.
gave his shoes to a homeless person.
You don't know what
Exactly.
he
He could
did.
have
know
had
it all.
those shoes. He could have traded
Or
shoes
that's
with a
not
homeless
important
person.
to him.
Or that's not important.
He's
but he gotta stack
investing money
There
and
you
he's
go,
doing
in the
this.
bank.
So I don't care about these shoes. Yes.
Exactly.
His portfolio is amazing.
Exactly. He's riding up in those dirty shoes, pushing that gas pedal into a nice house. You know them shoes, getting that pedal going.
Well, I'm going to give you a quote. So, like the great Maya Angelou said, when they tell you who they are, believe them.
The first time.
The first time.
The first time.
Yes.
I think that's one of the issues because we try to make a person into what we want them to be. And I'm going to. I've been there.
Yeah.
You get a couple things, you go, okay, I can work with that.
Build a bear.
Build a bear, right? So it is. It's build a bear.
It's build a bear.
It's build a bear.
It's
You
build
go
a
in there
bear.
and you like, I have this down here. I was like, why is it important for you not to build a bear in a relationship trying to fix or change someone?
Yeah.
So y'all want to open it up? Somebody want to talk about it?
Well, absolutely. Because first of all, you have to understand that that person is who they are, right? And yes, there can be some minor changes and tweaks and things, but don't you want someone to want you for who you actually are?
Right.
You don't want someone changing you or trying to, so you just need to be with someone who's compatible, who you value the same things, who the same things are important. And all the superficial things, those will fix themselves, right? But you cannot do a total haul over. I don't know if that's a saying or not. Overhaul, right? Of someone. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And if you've had that experience, you recognize after you've come out, get some wisdom, you look back, it does not work.
It never works.
Yeah.
Never works.
It goes in that everybody just happy because the honeymoon's kind of blinds
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And then you get into after the honeymoon is over, you start seeing some things that sort of like, this get on my nerves. Like, I can't. And then you got to go, you know what? I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Let's just, it reached its peak. We good. I can't because, you feel like it's not fair to you. It's not fair to the other person to put them through that. Because you don't want nobody that say, oh, you perfect. Oh, well, I can make you better. So let's do this and that. You'll be really upset if somebody try to change you, right? Yeah. So it's like, be honest. And it's okay to be by yourself for a minute.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Actually, it's more than
It's
okay.
great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It really is. And I do want to say this to those who are watching, especially for women. I can only speak because I am a woman, is that if you've never taken time 6 months, I'll even say 3 months.
Yeah.
To really just go without
Just
dating,
be.
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
to any male energy outside of your
Yes.
family,
Yes.
and spending time with yourself, doing your skincare,
Yes.
getting your,
Yes.
reading some books,
Taking
doing
yourself on dates.
taking yourself
Yeah.
on dates
Yep.
and hobbies and traveling. You will never know what that's like.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just challenge you today, if you've never done it, start with something like 3 months, and you're going to see at the end how different you feel about being by yourself. And what happens is, once you go into relationships, you're going to view them very differently.
Absolutely.
You're going to behave very differently.
Yeah,
You're going to
absolutely.
understand
worth,
who
too.
you are and your worth very, very differently.
You're not lying. You're
Yes.
telling the truth. I did 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And when I decided to start dating, I really was
I
like,
did
do
3
I want
years,
to give up
too.
my peace?
Yeah.
Yes,
I got
yes.
so used to
Yeah.
this. having my
Space.
peace.
Yeah.
And that was
Yes.
just like, oh, can I pray on it? Can I get back to you? Because I just really
I
had
Yeah.
to pray on it. 'Cause
No,
I was like,
you
I didn't want to
do.
give up my
I
peace.
did that long too.
Because your tolerance
Yeah.
is different too for
Yeah.
nonsense or anything
Oh,
that's
no.
just
No foolery or nonsense.
And it's funny you said that. I have another question. Y'all are on it today.
I just want
okay,
to
go
say
ahead.
this though about, and what I tell my clients is, were you talking about changing people? I just wanted to chime in on
Okay, go
that
ahead.
part. I ask them if they never change and they're exactly
That's right.
how
Yes.
they
Yes.
are now, would you date them?
Right.
Would you marry them? They like, no, they need to change this. Well, then that's not for you.
That's
He's not for
yes,
you.
yes.
And I think people are so desperate to be in a relationship. Everybody wants to be somebody's baby. I say it all the time. You want to be loved. You want to feel loved. That's how God made us. We are lovable creatures. We want to be loved. We want to feel love. But I think people do it to their disadvantage and to the detriment of who they are. And they end up saying that, yes, I want it, but they can change this. No. If that person is comfortable, especially when you get these big ages, is comfortable in who they are, it's not your job to come in and change them. It's your job to come and assist them or to add to who they are already. And if you got to do all, just like you going to buy a house, if you got to do all these changes, this ain't your house.
Right, right,
This ain't
right,
your
right,
house.
right,
You
right.
spending $300,000-$400,000 on the house, but then you want to do $200,000 in renovations.
Right. Just get
That's
the
not
other
the house. Just
Right.
get the other house.
Right.
Like save yourself some money, save yourself some time, and go get you another house. Get
love
you
that.
another person, because you're doing that person, not only you're doing that person a disservice.
it's
Right.
not fair to them.
Right,
not
not
fair to
fair
them
to
at
them,
all.
thinking that something is wrong with them. No, they're just not your cup of tea. You know, and I think we've got to stop trying to change people and just worry about ourselves and minding other people's business too much.
Right. If I can add to that, one of the things that I share with people that come to me with relationship challenges, I'll ask the question, is that something that you can live with? Like you said, is that something that you can live with, or is that something that's just maybe bothering you? And there's a bigger picture, like the relationship is great, but you have these little things. And again, I'm not saying to compromise yourself, but if that relationship as a whole is a good relationship, and there may be some little things like he keep throwing his socks on the floor, or he leaves the toilet seat up. Is that something you can live with? You have to ask yourself that question. If you can't live with it, if it's a non-negotiable, then you have to make the decision, because if not, you're going to continue to be frustrated in this relationship. You're going to continue to be angry, and he's not going to know why. Why are you always in this mood or whatever? Because these things are bothering me. And then that goes on to another conversation of communication in the relationship, right? So you definitely want to think about that. Can I live with this for the duration of this relationship?
Yeah,
and if
that's
you
right.
can't,
Adios.
and if you can, stop complaining.
Right. That's it. Stop nitpicking, stop complaining.
Right.
Session.
And go
Start
on and let that man.
Right, and just have a conversation.
You want to.
Listen.
But that's
up, okay?
also this. When you're pointing at the other person, the thumb is pointing back at you. So normally what you don't like about somebody, that trait is in
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
And that's that
You
healing
hitting it right
piece.
there.
You know what I'm saying? When people be like,
And
they
when
do
you're
this,
grown,
they
you
do
go and
that.
assess yourself.
Right.
I go and assess myself, like, is that bothering me because it's him? Or is that bothering him because it's
you're
me?
seeing a piece of your
That's called doing your work.
unhealed.
Yes,
You're
yes.
seeing a piece of your unhealed, like my book, seeing a piece of your healed showing.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. So when you're constantly going like this, they do this, they do that, it's something in you that's noticing it, because somebody else may not notice
Right,
it.
right.
Because they're healed in that area, but it's something. That's why I say
good.
relationships are mirrors. Now, you want to look in the mirror, look in the relationship.
Right.
If you're not trying to get real with yourself and do the real work, then you don't need to be in a relationship, and you need to cover all the mirrors because it's going to show you who you are back at you.
Yes.
And that's the starting point. Because oftentimes people always say, well, how do I start to heal? I know I need to heal. Wherever it ails you, aches you, disrupts your spirit, that's right there. When you see a person and it triggers you, or when you smell a scent and it triggers you, that's that starting point where it's time to heal. You can just fall in line. Heal wherever that is. It doesn't have to be singular. It doesn't have to be in order.
Right.
There is no ABC order in that thing. You might start to Z, jump back to B, come to C, X, X, all the X's, the X.
All right, so I'm gonna throw something out there at y'all. What's the difference between being treated like a wifey and actually being a wife?
Oh, that word, wifey.
Wifey. That song made it popular, didn't it? Everybody thought it was cute being a wifey.
Right.
Who wants to start? You want me to start?
I'll start with the master here.
Go ahead.
Repeat the question with me, because I'm really not that whole wifey thing.
Okay, hold on one second.
Somebody that's not trying to wife.
What's the difference between being treated like a wifey and actually being a wife? Because you know that the wifey thing is the popular thing. Oh, that's my wifey, and you ain't nowhere near nobody's altar, right? That's the wifey.
So maybe I'm a little, I've heard of the song and all that, and I understand what you're saying, so I'm just going to give a different, I'm not sure about the whole wifey thing.
Yeah.
But I'll come from the perspective of, dating, and tell me if this is an alignment.
Well, you're not married to them, but they want to treat you like they, quote unquote, you their wifey, but they're not giving you no commitment.
That's where I was coming from. Like dating you for 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Okay, so what's the difference? The difference is there's no commitment. The difference is there's no legality. We get contracts and binding contracts for houses, for homes, for our cars, for our jobs, all these different things, but we act like that there's no importance in that piece of quote unquote paper. But it's all about commitment. And the reality is, in my opinion, after a certain period of time, I feel like being 55 and almost 56 and seasoned, and been through some relationships and marriages, men know who they want to marry. And even though my marriages did not work, my first marriage, I was asked 2 months in, 3 months in, maybe we didn't get married right then. And the same thing, maybe 6 months in the second marriage, which was a 13-year marriage. So I believe that from a men's, I'm not a man, but they know when they want to get married. And so, yes, things are a little bit different today in terms of timing and, depending on the situation. But you will not get those benefits that you get of being a wife, the commitment, the security, the honor, if you will. You can look at it from so many different ways. And from a biblical perspective, the covenant. There's blessings in the covenant. There's favor in the covenant. You combine together like one in the covenant. God honors that and sees that very differently. As a believer, it's just the perks of it, period.
Yes, that favor.
And it's really, I'm just going to say that, I'll let you go. So basically, being a wifey, it comes with a lot of cons more than pros when it comes to that. Because when you're someone's wifey, they kind of pushing you along, like kicking the can down the street, like just giving you that title. So it sounds cute. Then you don't ask no questions. Then you let it go a little further, And then, the commitment, like you said, I ain't never thought of it that way. You commit to a lot of things. Your cell phone company gives you contracts. Your house gives you contracts. You sign contracts all day, all night. But when you're supposed to be someone that is in your house helping to pay for the bills that you signed the contracts for, you can't give her a contract. God almighty, that's different.
That's what it is.
Yes.
It's something because it's a trickery. It's trickery.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you said, it's kicking a can down the street. It's trickery. I'm going to call her wifey. It's similar to wife, so she can think, so I can prolong an engagement or a proposal, so I can let her feel special because of the word is similar, right? And wifey, it sounds cute, it's nice. I'm the wifey, right? But your experience and everything. But let's talk grown up.
Right.
That man dies.
That's right.
Something happens. Think about that.
Exactly.
Your name would not be in an obituary.
Because it's not full commitment.
It's not.
They say they might put his friend there, and they've been together 15 years, and that's been the wife. You get what I'm saying? Where she's experiencing different things. So it's almost like a person, as I talked about, who is desperate, who wants the love, who maybe has never been married. That's the closest thing that they have. They can't call them wifey, because I've heard people say, can't call wife, heard people say 2-3 kids together. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that commitment. But yet they have children together. Right. I've heard men say that often to women and clients alike. But the wifey is just the foolery and the trickery and the nonsense, right? I love that word, nonsense, because it's almost like pacifying. Yeah. I'm going to put a pause right here for you to let you know that you're almost a wife, and then most of the time they never circle back to that. But it has the woman feeling special, so it's just a placeholder.
It's like the shut up ring.
There you go.
Give them a ring to, they give them the ring, but there's no date.
Intention.
There's no intention. There's no timeline for the wedding, if you will. So, yeah.
So I have a question.
You're engaged for 10 years.
Do you think we breaking up relationships today?
No,
I mean that in a way, like people are listen in a good way. Like, I need to ask some questions, right? Wait a minute, I need to. That's what I mean. Like, do I need to ask some questions? Right. She don't need that. She don't need that. Or is it that let's have a conversation? Like it's time to have a conversation.
But a mature person will see it.
A mature person.
I had experienced something years ago. I was in Atlanta. And I was at a function, and the guy stopped the music, and he came, and he told her how great she was, and then he pulled out on the floor, and everybody was like, oh, everybody. And he got on his knees, and he was just like, he opened up the box, and he's like, this is a pre-engagement ring. I didn't know that
music stopped?
Wait. I thought I heard it, but I said, maybe he kind of stuttered, he was nervous or something. He said, something. I said, did he just say a pre-engagement ring? So they're not engaged.
Were they 12?
That's a promise ring.
Were they 12?
I said, were they 12? I was at the locker. It was like, okay.
Right.
Go to the locker.
Was it a red twisty tie too?
A ring pop.
Ring. I never heard of a pre-engagement. And let me tell you, this girl
That's placeholders.
She was going right about like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. Do you know I actually got up and walked out because I could not, because I was laughing. So I was like, I had to get up and leave the room.
So when you do a promise ring, do you get down halfway on your knee? You can't get all the way down. But a promise ring don't
You're right.
Babe, you have to stand up. You be like,
I never heard of a pre-engagement ring. And she was so excited. And I think people just, probably was like, oh, I'm going to just play with her. I'm saying? I couldn't do it. I had to leave because I was like, girl, he's playing in
your face.
Mm-hmm. He played you pre-engagement because that conversation was, when we going to get married? When we going to do this? When we going and the shut up ring.
Well, we need to talk about
that's
that.
A new shut up ring. But that's a new shut up ring. That's before the shut up ring. That's like the hush ring. Ring.
Right. Not now. Why you keep asking me? Right. Here you go. Since you keep asking, we need to talk about that. Trying to rush these men down the aisle and trying to beg. Let me tell you something. Somebody wants you, you ain't got to say nothing.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
You don't have to rush them like you. The same thing. I'm like, do you know my middle name? You asking to marry me. Do you know my middle name? You know what I mean? And it's those type of things. But so many women are desperate to have somebody say, will you marry me? It's like, will you accept me? Will you love me? Will you be there for me? They want all the validation, and it goes back to the family of origin. It goes back to childhood. Why do you desperately want to be wanted so bad? Where is the disconnect? And it's so many times that they just want to hear that. So they're asking. But women, you don't ask a man, where's my camera? You don't ask a man to marry you, right? He can make that decision.
I'm sorry.
Like she said, a man know, well, whoever's watching and listening, okay? Right? What your value is, what your worth is. He knows. Men have told me a number of times, clients and otherwise, that they know who their woman is when they see them.
Yeah.
Right? So they know you don't have to tap, dance, shuck, and jive to prove yourself and to make yourself feel worthy of love. You don't have to do all of this stuff. Just be who you are naturally. Absolutely. And that energy and that light that you have is going to, and if he doesn't, that's his loss. But we have to stop wasting all of this time in relationships. People are 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, 7, 6. No, if your desire is to be married. There is somebody out there who wants to marry you, and that person is blocking that person that's for you. Because Common said it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. You hear me? So they know, but then it also says they recognize the light but can't handle the glare. So think about that. Wow. So everybody is not for you. Yeah, Common, he's a prophet. He sees things. No, but no, but it's really, and that's coming from a man. So think about that. Talk to your male friends. Talk to the people that you know. But I don't want these women to be begging to be a wife. Right. If you are a wife and God made you a wife, then your husband is being prepared for you. And don't settle for less than what you desire. And don't settle for whoever asks you either.
Right.
Oh, just because they ask.
Just because they ask. And because some women, I talk to some women, they think it's the last time. This might be my final shot. You know, I might not ever have nobody give me this promise ring again. This pre-engagement again. So whoever it is, I'm holding on to that knee. I'm holding on to that knee. Yes, so I'll marry you.
So say you've been engaged, like,
but he never took you around his family. He never took you around his friends. You know, he just wants to be with you. That's a sign too. He wants to be with you and only you and spend time. If you've never met any of his people, you're not that serious.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not that serious.
But at the same time, they can introduce you to their people too.
Oh, that's trickery too.
That's trickery.
Oh, I met their mama. He must really love me.
Yeah, don't fall for that.
No, because everybody done met that mama.
But I think, you know, and I actually experienced that before. Like, when somebody introduced you to their mother, like the third time you saw them, something ain't right with that either. No. Because it's like, what kind of relationship do you have that you're going to bring me over to your mother so quickly? Yeah. But then a lot of times,
maybe the mother got to size them up. Maybe that's their deal. Let's bring that woman here so I can see.
Some of the most be like, let's stop bringing these girls to me. You know, they don't like that either.
Look, it was an episode of Girlfriends. I love Girlfriends. Y'all see my shirt today, right? And she said, you introduced me to your mama. He said, of course, that's my mama. Like, that ain't no big deal. It's my mama. Right. And I think we put so much stock in what society says.
That's true,
if he introduces you to his mother, or if he introduces you. So you can't be hidden, but you can't get too excited. So it's a middle ground.
Yeah, you're right.
But if somebody's close to their mom and they see their mom every day, you in a car with them, and you say, hey, this is can't even think of their name. This is that's not special.
Right. That's true. Okay, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to add some friendships in here, okay? So, is it true that the way someone treats their friends says a lot about how they would treat their partner?
I believe so. You are who you are. Your character is who your character.
I don't think she thinks the same.
Your personality is your person.
You look like you're thinking hard.
You know, if you watch someone lie to their family, lie to their homeboys, lie at the job.
I just got triggered. Hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a liar.
But then you think it's because it's not you.
But you think that it's not going to be you.
We always think we're the one that's going to make it different.
Well, we are who we are, as we talked about earlier, right? So a person's character, and I think that's what you need to watch. Not just what they do to you, how they treat the people in the store. Do they open the door? How do they treat elderly people?
Look at that,
Elderly people, how do they treat kids? You know, just in passing or in certain environments. All those things are relevant to their core being.
You know, and I got to see her. I see your brain, like, literally. Go ahead.
So initially, I hadn't thought about it, but when I think about the person I'm with now, I paid attention to how people treated him. Yep. Like, he was in New York before he moved here, but I paid attention to how people treated him. Yep. They loved him. Yep. Like, he was in the store one time. Hey, they had names. Yep. Hey, do you need something? And I used to be like, people love him. And the way that he would give people stuff. And he's that way now. Like, we stopped at a store after church, and he just had a whole conversation with the man that people would walk by. And so those are the things that's like, I'm just going to sit here and wait. I'm not mad because they're listening listening to you and you have a heart for just like me, I can
That's
go
right.
to anyone
Yep.
and talk to them. It doesn't matter your appearance, your
Yep.
smell, anything. And he will do the same thing. And I'll just be like,
Yep.
I'm going to just wait because this is what he does.
Yeah.
And like I said, just to watch people love
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I just thought about that today.
But
I feel a little happy.
That's question, that's good, but no, that's important.
Yeah.
How do they treat people who can't do anything for them?
Yes, yes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
They don't have anything to gain from that
Right.
Yes.
person.
Good point.
How do they treat somebody? And you made a valid point, because I ended up breaking up with somebody because of how the integrity, right? How you're treating your friends. I watched them lie, and I saw a text with a bold-faced lie, and I've heard that turned me off. He didn't lie. Well, he did lie to me, but not that time. Okay. But that lie that I heard, and I continuously heard him telling lies, that integral piece, even if you're not lying to me, that's how you're
Yeah.
treating
Character.
people.
Yeah.
That character piece is super important, because we talked about clothes and shoes early. You can dress somebody
Right.
up, but that if that integrity and that character is trash, throw the
ugly.
whole person over there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Throw the whole house
Garbage can. Because think about that. People are dressing up and covering
Yes.
up so much, but that inside, you can work on all of this. Go get
Right.
plastic surgery, do what you do. But that integral piece, the essence of who someone is, you cannot buy that, or you can work on that.
Sure.
But the essence of somebody is who they are. And if I see you, being dishonest or doing certain things,
Right.
and you're
Trying to get
treating your
over.
friend that way,
Yeah.
or you say this is your friend, but you're betraying your friend, right? Or you have those, you have that mindset to do that and those behaviors. It's a matter of time. If that's who you are, then that's how you're going
sure.
to treat me.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's
Without
true.
a doubt.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's
You know,
true.
oh, I'm lying. I told him I wouldn't come, blah, 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 or whatever. You got to watch that.
Yeah.
Because
It's gonna
then
bite you
you're
in the butt
going to be on
eventually.
the other side of
Yeah,
that
it's gonna
lie.
bite
For
you.
sure.
And so I think a little differently. I agree with everybody on the panel, but I think a little differently. I think sometimes women treat men differently when it comes to, like, they get a boyfriend, forget about it. They all in. You never see them. They cut you off. They hang with their boyfriend all the time. They don't know how to be your friend anymore. And it's kind of like, you could do both. You could have your boyfriend and you could
Balance.
have balance. You could have all.
And you should.
But they'll do things with them that they'll never do with you, or never, like, they'll maybe pick him up 3 a.m. if he was stuck somewhere, and you've been friends with them for 20 years. And they
never
never
pick you
come
up
get
from
you.
the airport.
They ain't come get you from the airport.
That's the friend. That's always the friend indicator. Will they pick you up on the side of the road, or they take you to the airport, or help you move?
Right.
Those are the three
Help you
things.
move.
Those are the
That's a
three
big
things.
one. Help
That's
you
the friend.
move is a
Help you
big
move.
one.
Get you off the side
That's
of the
a big
road
one.
and take you to the airport.
That is a major one.
You
Help
know,
you move.
Help you
reconsider your friends if they ain't
Yeah,
doing
they'll
all
do
this.
it though.
Right.
So you see some women, they would do above and beyond.
Yeah, that's true.
And I get it because you're with someone, but you have friends. I think friendships and relationships are similar, just that no sex is involved in the other side. But relationship is a relationship. It's a relationship. Like, you still got to value. You still got to do the same kind of stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's not that far removed from being in a marriage or a boyfriend. You still got to, treat them right, because you can't just treat your friend anyway and call them your friend, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then if the man goes, then you'd be like, what you doing tonight? You'd be like, I ain't heard from you in 6 years. I ain't heard from you in 6 years. I ain't heard from you in 6 years. Who
And
is
she got a
this?
nerve to call you
It's
after 6
Sam.
years.
The boy Sam.
She got a nerve to call you
You'd
after
be
6
like,
years.
Girl, what you doing? You'd be like,
Same thing I was doing when you was going out with Bubba.
What you mean? Now you wanna ask her to go to the
nonchalant
festival?
she is, girl. What's
Child,
up?
please.
What's up? You going out to? Hold on, who is this?
Hello? The voice sound familiar.
First, I took your number out before, so I don't know who this is. No more.
Right,
So who is this?
It don't show up anymore.
But that happens all the time. You get people that always, like, they'll be all in love and stuff, and then when things don't work out, they go back to their original friends, and that's using. You used your friends. Like, you didn't value their friendship, and that's not right. You could do both.
Sure.
You could always have both, and then you have a great boyfriend that's social, whatever. He
Invite
can
your
put it
friends
in,
with him.
right?
Invite your
All your
friends.
friends can just hang out together. It don't have to be like, well, we out together. Because, I dated someone before that he didn't want to be around nobody. You know, I ain't like that because I'm a socialite. So I'm like, I don't know who that is and all this stuff. And it's kind of like,
That's some trust issues going back to that origin.
And I was like, I like to be out and socialize and talk. And, you want someone to be able to talk this, so like you said, your boyfriend kind of goes out and
when
talk.
we go to social places together, he don't sit with, he can just go make his own conversation. He is his own
I know about that.
person.
That's how mine
like,
is.
But that's attractive.
That is. It's like you're not just sitting there and then you go and talk.
Yeah.
Like, it's been times I've done events and at the end, I'm signing books or people want to talk to me. He just sitting over there. Do your thing, honey. Do your thing.
And that's very attractive.
And then he'll go
so
make a
entertaining.
conversation with somebody else.
You don't want somebody to be like, why are you talking to him?
And hurry
Why are
up.
you talking to her?
Yeah, hurry up.
Why you doing that? Every time we go out, you do. You know,
Yeah.
They ain't no church hug. They ain't no church hug.
right?
Turn to the side. Turn to the side.
Why you pat his back like that? Why you pat her back like that?
But the same thing when I said he was talking to the unattractive people on the street. I can be like, why are you wasting your time talking to them? But I'm the person that loves those same people.
Yeah.
So it is attractive.
I
It
dated
is.
a guy one time used to stand around like security, like talking to people. You stand around like security.
But remember, we had a discussion one time. The same things that they are attracted to when they got with you, the same
Yes,
things that they are
yes.
breaking up with you about.
Yes.
Because
You're so social. You talk to people. You
out
talk to
there,
too many
and you in
people.
media,
Why you always in his face?
And then they love it. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, my girl does this and that
Yeah.
and that. And
Are you
like,
really going out
a year
of
or two
town
later,
for an
they're
event?
like,
You know why they say my girl? You know why they say my girl does this, and this, and that's it? Because they ain't got nothing going on.
Right.
Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's that. If they feel like they don't have anything of value and they see value in you, that's why evenly yoked is so important. If they feel like they don't have value, then you're going to get all of that backlash from what they feel on the inside. And it has nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
Because the way that your light is shining, Carmen said it. Recognize the light, but that's
can you call
important.
Carmen, please? Can we get Carmen here?
Carmen. Wait, he might ask the question yes later. But think about that. Yeah. They recognize the light, meaning they recognize who you are and they love that. But they can't handle the glare. When the light is shining, think about the glare. Everybody is consumed with the glare. Everybody is attracted to the glare, the shiny thing. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So they like that part about you, but they can't handle the glare that comes with it. You know, I'm a writer. So when I listen to a song with lyrics, like another one, Joe says, I want to know what makes you cry so I can be the one who makes you smile. Think about that. So I want to know your pains, what you're going through, so I know that I won't repeat those. So I can be gentle with your feelings and your emotions because I see who you are. Now I want to make you smile. I don't want to do what you've been through. I want to do better because you deserve better.
That's good.
Okay, I got another one for y'all. How do you handle the friend who always got something to say about your love life?
I don't know them.
Get you some business.
I was going to say, I don't know them because I don't share a lot about my love life with my girlfriend.
Yes, I don't.
I'm very private. I mean, if it's something superficial, yeah, we're going here, we're going there, but I don't give details. I learned that a long time ago.
It's a quick answer. Drink your water and mind your business.
That's it. Get you some business. Get you some business.
Get a Coke and smile.
Right. Have a Coke and smile. Right.
She said next.
Right.
I guess because we older, it's not like it used to be. Because sometimes when you were younger, you have your girlfriends, everything you did, you was like, girl, we went here, we did this, and da-da-da. Or you have some people that are in your circle and they don't like him. And that's another thing, because you have people that don't, like in your situation, you knew after you called it off, people said, hey, I'm glad you didn't, they just didn't say nothing to you. So imagine you did get married.
They
so
do that all the time.
How would that transpire over the years? You know what I'm saying? Because he probably got worse and worse and worse.
Right.
And then they've been very
Girl, I
uncomfortable.
knew you shouldn't have married him anyway, but you didn't say that.
But people do say that. Like after, he'd be like, where was y'all?
Right.
Where was the alarm before you got with him?
But would you be ready to hit along, though?
Sometimes, but look, after, everybody be like, I'm glad you, because let me tell you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, y'all got a lot to say now.
Because, people were taught to mind their business.
Mind their business.
And they didn't want to get involved in your life. They said, you love it, I like it.
Yes. And that's how I am with my friends. If they come to me for something, right, or they're giving me something, I'm never that person. You need to leave him.
Right.
You need to drop him. whatever you're doing, I support you.
Right.
And I know I'm the honest friend. And they call and say, because I know you're going to keep it real. And it's like, well, I asked them, well, what do you want to do?
Yes.
You know, that's the important part. One of my friends was cheated on years ago. And she said, I will look like a fool if I'm still with him. I said, but what do you want to do?
Right.
Will you be leaving because of what the eyes that are seeing and the ears that are hearing? Are you leaving because of that? Or are you leaving because of the betrayal because you want to? That's the question you have to ask. And now they've been married over 30 years, you know, so it's whatever they do. So I think you need to really have people in your friend group that allow you to make your decisions, and you're a soft place to land if they need to fall.
You know what? And I had to learn, because when you love your friends as much as, I guess a lot of us, we have good friends that we love, and you see the train about to crash, and you be like, do you see what is happening? You just want to choke them, because it's like, what is wrong with you? Then I had to realize, I've been that person before. I've been that person. I dated someone and it was like, what in the world? But I'm learning now that is a journey.
Yes.
The lessons in those valleys, they have to learn.
Yes.
And you keep removing them from the valley, they never going to get to the peak. Right? So you have to let them learn, just like we had to learn.
Yes.
And just because, of course, we're going to see it because we are outside. They're in the mix. They can't, like I always said, the gentleman told me this one
picture in the
time.
frame.
If you're standing in front of the Empire State Building, if I'm standing like right here, I don't see the Empire State Building. I see a piece of glass in my eye.
Right.
But if I stand all the way back, oh, I didn't know we were standing in front of this big building.
Right.
So in the midst of it, you don't know what you're doing, right? You just kind of in whatever that codependency, whatever that issue is. But like you said, that's valid information, and I'm gonna say that you got to do. It hurts, because I swear you be like, oh, I know that person gonna get hurt. That's like a child. You see a child dating someone, you be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you have to let them go through it, because you went through it. You got to bump it a couple of times, and you just like, God, just cover them while they go through this
That's
vicinity.
it. That's part. Pray for
When
it.
they go through this valley, pray and cover my child, because I know whatever I say, they're not going to listen.
And you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
You can't see it. If you're the frame, you cannot see the picture when you're in the frame. So if you're in it, that's why the saying is hindsight is 20/20 vision. Just like you said earlier, you ever be with somebody and be like,
go,
what in the
what
world was I thinking? You could not see. You could be with somebody that totally smells, and everybody around you like, he stinks, and you like, what?
It's the best thing ever.
It's the best thing
Right,
ever.
you
It's
smell
the best
embarrassing
thing
juice.
ever, right? But then everybody else, and then when y'all break up, you be like, he stinks. You know, but
And then you be
can't
like, I
see it.
remember that one time.
Right.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you do stink.
Exactly. So it's like you're in a fog, right?
Yeah.
Because if somebody is, like you said, there's something in you that the person said that resonated with you. Because some people pretend to be other things, right? But when you get to know the real person, sometimes that no longer serves you and it doesn't work for you. But then now people are in 10 years, 15 years, 20-year marriages. And I with Judge Mathis and his wife, they're divorcing after 39 years. People are like, 39 years? Y'all got a big enough house, go in another room. It's because he for years said he was going to put her first. Then after he retired, he was going to put her first. He was going to do this and that, but he didn't change his behavior. So she was willing to change her last name.
Right.
You know, after 39 years, I think that that's so brave. I hope, I pray that they work it out, right? But I admire her because at 39 years, you can get comfortable and say, you know what, I'm still not going to get what I want. It's okay. But to be in that age and put yourself first and say, you know what, I am worthy of what I desire as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
You know, it's important.
You just did a nice little bridge right there. So how do you know when a relationship has reached its peak, expiration date, and do
stinking.
you have a party to celebrate that when you decide to do that?
I've been to a divorce party. I think that the expiration date is when the person decides that's the expiration date. I think it's not a certain time for someone else.
Right.
It's that person. It's those people in there. And sometimes a man might get to the expiration date first, or the woman might get to the expiration date first. But I think that it has to be a time where you put yourself first, You put them first, you put the relationship work first. And I think both people should get what they want, and nobody should be suffering in a relationship. So if you're in your room, they're in their room, you're not talking, you're not speaking, you're walking in the house and you're not sharing, you sitting in the driveway, you don't want to go in, you see the number like, I ain't answering the phone, whatever it is, and that happens month after month, year after year, you really have to have that tough conversation, right? Neither one of us want to be the first to say goodbye, but somebody got to say goodbye. And if you love the person with the same love that you had when you first got together, you have to realize it's no longer serving the other person either, because they're no longer getting the best version of you, and you're not getting the best version of them. So it's a mature way to uncouple, but most people don't do it in a mature way, because normally one person wants to hang on and then the other person wants to leave. And I think that's where it gets tricky, but it's up to the individuals when it's time to leave. And hopefully as adults, people can uncouple in a healthy way, especially if they have children.
Yeah, and especially, what do y'all think about that?
So I'll add to that. I believe that if the communication stops, or if you have been communicating your needs, either partner, if you have been communicating your needs on those significant things, and after a while you don't see any change, then you have to make a decision. Like, if we're having this conversation and you're saying you want to change, you're going to do these things, but then you give it time and it never changed, or it reverts back, it's like, okay, this is something that is I can't live with. And so after you've had the conversation long enough, because I don't know about anybody else, I'm a shut down person. Okay, I said it enough. I'm not saying anymore. And after a while, you get to the point you say, you know what, I'm no longer happy because you're not valuing what I need to say to you. You're not valuing what I need in this relationship. And so that's when the conversation comes. We need to end this. I believe there needs to be communication up until that point.
Well, for me personally, I can just share a little bit of my experience. There were several things going on without getting details. But once I felt I did all that I could do, from therapy to counseling to talking to my husband and sharing my needs and sharing my wants, and, trying to do a little couple therapy, and going to God and praying and praying and praying and reading and fasting and, just all those things. And I became like numb. I didn't know who I was, and I was just numb. So, for me, I guess in the quick version answer would be, when you know that you've done all that you can do, depending on the situation, the circumstance, I think that's when you kind of get to, well, that's it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, not sometimes, I think most of the times, or I could be confident to say, I think all the time, when it's not godly and it's not brought together by God, and you didn't bring God into the relationship, a lot of times that's why the unequally yoked things happen. I know a lot of people, some people don't believe, so, they do what they do. But as a believer, you have to bring God in your relationship, because if you don't, it's not gonna last, because you don't have that foundation, as we discussed earlier, of that house is built on sand. Because you don't have anybody guiding that relationship. And I've done that many, many times. And I know I was married one time, and God was nowhere in that decision of me saying yes to him. It was because I loved the fact that he loved me unconditionally, and I never been loved like that before. I never had no one who wanted me just for me and accepted me with everything. And I just I didn't know that was going to come again. I didn't know, So I married someone based on what I wanted. I didn't say, God, can you give me some advice, or can we talk about this? Or, that alone will solve most of if all of your problems, if you bring God into.
Well, I want to add on that a little bit, because I had the opposite. So we had a very Christian family household. And faith alone will not make a marriage last, because God gives us free will, and we're in this human body, and we're human. Our humanness, our flesh, pride and unforgiveness are some of the biggest things that ruin marriages. And so there's a lot of pride and unforgiveness. Let me say it one more time.
Yeah, say it one more time.
For the people in the back. Pride and unforgiveness. And so just because we're believers doesn't mean that we are not very prideful people, or that we're genuinely forgiving. Because as a coach, what I have seen in my practice and working with women is, and I know that this goes across those lines, people say they forgive. As believers, we know that is the thing to say. So we don't want, oh, sure, I forgave him. Sure, I've forgiven her. Sure, I forgave my friend. But through coaching and these things are coming out, it's not authentic. So there's a lot of fake forgiveness. And so until we really release that in a relationship, in a marriage, and really forgive. And the other piece is, you can forgive your mate for whatever that offense may be, but trust has to be rebuilt.
Yes.
And a lot of times people say, well, I told you I'm sorry, I apologize. And, and why are you asking me? But what is your behavior now? If you've offended me, whatever way that is, right? Not just infidelity, it's a ton of things that people are leaving marriages about, but you have to rebuild trust. And that's the biggest thing. When trust is broken in any way in a marriage, it is very difficult to rebuild. And the only way to rebuild it is with your behavior, not your words, right? And so and to encompass that, just being in a Christian marriage or having faith in your marriage, and you both being bona fide believers, you might pray every day and all that, it is not going to necessarily produce a successful marriage.
So what I got from that was, okay, yes, being a Christian is a good platform, but you got to walk like God when it comes to the forgiveness piece.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you could have God in your life and in your relationship, but you're not acting like him in his ways. And that's the thing. Because sometimes we'll say, oh, we love God, praise God, we go to church, do all that. But then when it's time to do the work and what God told us to do, that's literally in the Bible, sitting there telling you, you got to forgive. That means you got to forgive.
Yeah.
We don't, as our egos and pride blocks that. So you makes a lot of sense.
You're saying you
that.
forgive, but when you used to wash his clothes, you no longer do that. When you used to make his plate, you no longer do that. Everything that you're doing, your behavior is showing them that you haven't forgiven them, even though you've said it. You stop talking, you stop using syrupy, kind words to them, right? But you're saying, I forgive you, dang. Right. I forgive you. But you still, dang, every time you turn around, you'd be like, it just happened last week. Like, give me a moment. It just happened. You always bringing it up. Yeah, for the last 2 days I have been. Sorry. You know what I mean? But you stop your behavior because it's changed. When you apologize, it's changed behavior that has to happen. And it's really the essence of, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Absolutely.
So when you forgive, you're still treating that person the same way, because a lot of people have that anger and they hold on to that, but they say that they forgive and they really haven't.
And they haven't forgiven. And that, and that forgiveness piece is good all across the board, not just in relationships, but your friendships, your parents, everything. Like I always say, we always go to church, we do all this wonderful stuff. We go help the homeless, we go feed the homeless, we do all this stuff. But then when something like happens in your life, Lord Jesus, I don't know what. Yes, you do know. It's right here. It says it right here. But you're not doing it because for some reason you feel that it's not for you. But you read it every Sunday when you go to church. So it's kind of like you got to implement those things that we learn.
Yeah.
And that's what you said. It's like, okay, we all love them. But we implement
the fruits of the Spirit.
It's
the fruits. Yes, the fruits of the Spirit.
Because that forgiveness piece is past you.
Yes.
It's so past you. It got nothing to do with you. He just told you to do it and trust him in the process of what's going to happen afterwards. We don't trust it because we like, look, I'm not going to know, because then he going to think that I got away or he got away with it, and I'm not saying that. Because if I say that, he going to think it's okay to do it again. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. God's working on him, but you're not trusting the process.
But people love to use scripture on other people,
right,
and not themselves, right. People love to say, "Well, the Bible says this is how you're supposed to do this, how you treat your wife. This is how you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this," but they don't use it on themselves. Right. And we're talking the fruits of the Spirit, right? And what is love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't brag or boast. It doesn't keep record of wrongs.
Yes.
Right?
Say that one again.
So everybody want to have it at their wedding. Everybody wants to have it at their wedding. Right. They want to have it at their wedding. It's plastered on the napkins. It's everywhere. Right. Oh, a different world. I knew it. Jennifer Lewis, you're on my list. I say it too.
We showing our age.
Right, we are. A different world from where you come from. Okay. But everybody wants to talk about love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't brag or boast, but it doesn't keep record of wrong, right? So that's what forgiveness is. If you truly forgive, you don't keep the record. There's no tally mark on the wall. And that's what people are doing in relationships. And then we wonder why the divorce rate is 50%.
Right.
Like, people are not really doing the work. They want to blame someone else and roll out.
Right.
Nobody is doing their work. And you have to be able to do your work, and you have to be able to recognize what's happening with you
And you gotta
the
be able to
patterns.
apologize.
And you have to be able to
Yes.
apologize
Yes.
without a but, without an
Right.
explanation,
Oh.
without a saying.
Don't you
If
get those?
if
I apologize, but
Yeah,
listen,
but
you said
there's no there.
What happened,
Listen. There is no but in apologies.
Right.
There's no booties
Right.
in apologies.
No
right?
booties.
No buts. Right. And then also, you don't apologize by saying, if I made you feel
Right.
this way.
I made you
You're
feel this-
taking again the
Yes.
onus off of you. An adult says, I apologize for making you feel this way. It's not about if you think you did something.
Right.
If you hurt somebody, you apologize. It's not like, well, if you think I did. No, because that's not, if you think I did. It's not about whether you're right or wrong, or if you did something. If that person received you or experienced you in that way,
Right.
and they're in a need of apologies, then that's what you do.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take anything away from you. And
Right.
that's what people have to understand. In so many relationships, people are competition. They're not unity on the same team. It's almost like, I got a point for this, you got a point. No, when we lose, you lose, I lose.
We lose, yes.
When we win,
We
when you
win.
win,
Yes.
we both win.
Yes.
That's
And so
absolutely
many
right.
people view relationships as a competition.
That's so true.
Yes, but if you're in the same house, or if you're together, you are a team.
A team, yes.
Right? If you lose, I'm losing. If we're having a disagreement and I won the disagreement, what did I really win?
Right.
I won nothing, because there's still discord.
Right.
So I would rather be happy than right. If I
Right.
know that I'm right on the inside, I don't have
Right.
to go to the mountaintop and tell you 50,
Exactly.
11 times that I'm right.
Right.
I know that I'm right, but I want to be happy in this moment. And you have
Choose
to
your
be
battles
able to
wisely.
choose your
Yes.
battles and disarm yourself.
Yes.
Very good.
And that's hard to do. That's definitely hard to do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to check. I know we have our producer over there that's handling the questions. And I was want to see, do we have any questions there? Because I want to make sure we don't have some time to answer some questions. So as I promised, we do have a live studio audience, and we actually have on the online as well that people, I can see it from here. I see strolling here from people that are making comments. So we're going to get that checked out in a second. And you do have someone that want to ask a question here in the audience. So I want to open this up real quick before we close out today. So
Hello, my name is Sophia, and I've been divorced for about 2 years now. And I want to know, when you're redating, what are some of the things you look for?
Wow. Okay. So going back into dating, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name?
Sophia?
Okay. Well, I think it really depends on the individual, right? If you're dating for fun, if you're dating for a relationship, if you're dating for marriage, number one. Number two, I always advise my clients to think about what it is that you want and make a list of, 3 or 5 things, not 24, right? But that are high priority for you in a relationship, really, like what you're looking for in that person. And as you date, that's a good start to get out and, meet people. I think the best way is to do things that you enjoy. And that's one of the best ways to meet people that you have things in common with. So if you like going to the gym, if you like tennis, if you like church functions, if you like book clubs, if you like jazz festivals, get out and about and meet people in that way. And then, as I said before, have your sort of list, if you will, of things that are most important to you, because what's most important to you may not be the same things that are important to me, and kind of start from that point. That's my thoughts. You're welcome.
that was a good question. Well, I'm going to ask this because I wanted to, it's kind of like a battle question a little bit. So can a partner really be your best friend?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Does it replace your best friend?
No. So a partner can be your best friend. Think about it. Mine is mine, right? You spend most of your time with that person, right? You share intimate details about your life to that person. Remember, that person is a mirror of you and vice versa, right? You have It's a difference from having a best friend. There's certain things that you won't share with a female best friend that you will share with your mate.
Okay.
Right? Because the walls are down, and not to say that they're not with a friend, but your man can be your best friend as well as you still have your best friend. It's not about a either or a replacement. It's about you can have that one. It's a different type of relationship. It's not the same type of a relationship. And intimate. And intimate doesn't mean always, sex intimate.
Right.
It's those intimate conversations when the lights go down. You know what I mean? When everything is off and it's stripped. And sometimes even with friends and female friends, I notice this with other friends, not my friends, but other friends, is sometimes friends will judge certain things. Or sometimes friends will remind you of who you were or you used to be. Or some friends can't see the growth and they're not ready for it because you're leaving them behind. You know what I mean? You about to shout? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's that. But as you build a relationship and that foundation in a relationship, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
But you still love your friends. You don't dish your friends. You don't, push them to the curb. But it is different.
Yeah, it is. It is. Go ahead.
I'll add to that. So in the world, people know me as confident Clarissa, right? They say you carry yourself in a way like you just got it all together. But my partner is that person where I can just be like, I'm not trusting myself today, and I'm not feeling so confident today. And I don't know how I feel, or this situation made me feel this way. And he would be like my life coach in the moment, like either don't worry about it, or he's just so calm with like, oh, it's all good. It's going to work out. Everything's going to work out. Don't worry about it. And I'll just be like, no, but I need to process these feelings right now. And he's just as calm. No, it's going to work out. It's okay. It's going to, you watch, and this is what's going to happen. And that's what's going to happen. So he allows me to be the vulnerable person that not my best friend don't even see, right?
And why they always say everything gonna work out?
Like so simple.
Like you want to really break
like
it
you
down.
want to really get in there. I need you to give me the details.
It's like you cut it.
I want you to tell me what happened. I want you to tell me how is it gonna be okay? How's it gonna be this? Right. And I'm okay with it because it really is just a calm, right? So I'm the person that's always motivating people. And girl, you got it. Girl, you this. I didn't think that that would be the person, but that's what I asked for. So he gives me that, like, it's okay, honey. Honey, we gonna work it out. It's gonna be okay, honey. I'll be like, no, but can I get some details? And he's like, don't worry about it.
You said no.
Why are you worried about it? Like, it's gonna work out. And so I'm just really grateful for that because again, he allows me to take off the confident hat that everyone sees and just
and
be
men
vulnerable.
process things differently. And sometimes if you're talking to your girlfriend, they're processing it like you. So it's a different type of element. So when you have your man doing it, it's different. That energy, it's different.
And there's no judgment.
It's no judgment.
Like if I'm frustrated with something that happened and I'm sharing about a person, he doesn't take that as you're talking about the person. He takes that as you're just sharing this frustration in the moment because he knows that I'm about uplifting people. So it's never in a way to tear down. And so he just listens to that.
Where you have to explain who you are.
Yeah.
I get
Well,
it.
you had touched on something about having it together. And that's one of the things that people think about me. They think that I always have it
Me
together.
too.
They think that I will never fall. They think, well, you got it. You could do it.
Yeah.
People never ask if I need help. They never ask
I'm about to
if
shout.
I'm okay.
Yes.
They never
I'm about
say,
to shout.
how's your day
Yes.
or what's going on
Yes.
because I'm always the one checking on everybody else. But then when you don't have it together, they're shocked and awe. Y'all do the
They
same
throw it in
thing.
your face.
I had an experience, and I'm not going to get into details. I had an experience that I had a situation that happened, and I swear to you, no one asked me. It was a traumatic experience, and no one asked me at all about, like, not everybody. Okay, I had a couple people. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
No. But I said, as a whole, you would think people would check on you more. Or people will, because they're like, well, you always have it together. And then I had a friend of mine that tell me, he said, I'm gonna tell you the truth. The reason why you're not getting that because people think you got it together all the time. Because you never show you're vulnerable. You never show that you have. I said that's not true. What do you want me to do? Go on Facebook and say, today I'm vulnerable, y'all, so I'm going to show you today. Like, what am I supposed to do to show you that? I do show the people that's in my life that I have questions or I'll talk about it and I say, I'm kind of confused or whatever. But maybe the other people are showing it more. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so true. And I think because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
And then we get drained too, because remember, people, we are taking on your energy when you're coming to us through coaching. We're taking on all that stuff. And we got to go home and detox ourselves because we are energy flowing through us because we're helping you.
Yeah.
So on top of doing coaching and lifing, right?
Yes.
We do have a lot on us. And I
Yes.
think women in general and men, I think everybody has stuff on them. But I think when you and I think it's a good thing, but yet it's not. Because it's great that we could
Pick ourselves
You
back
know what
up.
I'm saying? We could do
Be
that
resilient.
and walk outside, and we are looked at and looked up to as these amazing people. We always there. We always there for people. We always that's a great thing. But then when you have those low moments, when I got to go home sometimes they don't even know I go home and shut down. I literally don't go out the house. I sit on the couch. I just watch TV. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes, because it's like, and I lost my mother last year. I lost my dad. I'm an only, not no more. I do have birth, and that's a whole long story.
Yeah.
But I was raised as the only child. So now both of my parents are out of this world, right? I got God in me, I get it and all that. But yeah, I'm used to having these people in my life. And then when you don't have a sibling to share that grief with, it's been a lot. It's been a year. You know what I'm saying? And like, I haven't had I guess because people think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm doing this show, I'm smiling and all that. But yeah, I'm still grieving everybody.
Yeah,
I
the
still,
encourager needs to be encouraged.
Yes,
your cup
for sure.
needs to be
For sure.
replenished.
Yeah.
I think someone said that earlier.
Can I share a story when you're done? So is this a personal story? I had a car accident. I was involved in a car accident in 2015. Like, to me, the worst car accident. I shattered my wrist. I couldn't walk for a couple of days, and I was depressed. I'm a Christian, and I was depressed. And I wouldn't go out the house. I wouldn't do anything. And a family member came. And their comment to me was, well, aren't you supposed to be a life coach? I said, what do you want me to do? Run down the street with my arm? Everything's great. and it just really hurt me. So 2 things that people could say that's really offensive. Well, aren't you supposed to be a Christian? Aren't you supposed to be a life coach? I am still human, right? I am still human. So that just brought up that story. Like, what do you want me to do?
But I think
run down
being a life coach or being a counselor or being a therapist, anything in those professions, people, either they're envious or jealous or whatever of the situation of who you are anyway, and it's trying to find something to pull out of it, right? It's not even the fact that you're you're a life coach. That person already had that in them about you anyway, but they just had something to grab onto.
Right.
Aren't you supposed to be
I
a life coach?
I knew it.
Yeah, like I knew it. You ain't perfect. You going around here acting like everything's perfect. No, that's not what we're saying. The difference between a person who does their job and do their work and a person who does not, life will life.
Yeah.
We still gonna get hurt. We still gonna have pain. We still gonna have disappointments. But we know how to get out of it quicker, and we recognize it sooner.
Yes.
We recognize it sooner.
Doing your work got nothing to do with you
Right.
not being perfect. We are not perfect. Ain't nobody on this panel ever said they perfect. But one thing we could tell you is when we see it coming, we can feel it. Because when you do your work, you're more attached to your emotions. You understand what's happening. You feel the jealousy come up or the envious come up, or you feel the disappointment. You go, oh, I'm starting to feel it. I'm not supposed to feel this way. Let me go back and rationalize. You said something earlier. Let me go back and think. Was it me?
Yes.
Or is it them?
Is it my
or is
perception?
it what did I do for this feeling to come up? That's doing your work.
Yep.
So for people out there, please don't think that because we are life coaches or therapists or anything that's in a profession that we're gonna always have the answer. We're always gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
We always because they watch you. They be
Yeah.
they're like the divorce master got divorced.
But this is what I always say. They don't say anything when doctors need other doctors.
Right.
They don't say anything when a dentist goes to another dentist.
Right.
They don't say that. But when you're a life coach, they think that your life is supposed to be perfect, which is ludicrous.
Right.
But they think that. So when a life coach has a life-altering issue or something happens, they're looking at, you know how many times, oh, you're supposed to be a life coach. I had an ex that would say that all the time. Oh, you're supposed to be a life coach. You know, that was the dig because I'm supposed to be perfect. And that what it is. And I that's why I share so much.
Right.
I'm very vulnerable. I'm like, no, I'm flawed. I'm not perfect.
Absolutely.
Who wants that type of responsibility? And it's boring
Just
to
Jesus.
be perfect. Right. I'm not walking on water when I leave here.
Right.
You know what I mean? But people don't understand. A mechanic sometimes goes to another mechanic if he doesn't know what it is. And other professions are allowed to be able to go to other professions or to be fallible. But because we're a life coach, and these are life-altering situations, we're supposed to be perfect, which is ridiculous, you know? So, but I think people have to learn how to be, and when you were talking about how people think this and not there, you have to learn to ask for help.
Yeah.
You have
And
to
that's what I was
learn
told,
to be
too.
vulnerable. You have to learn to say, I don't have the answer today.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to learn to say, I'm not okay. So part of that, the onus is on you and whoever else who doesn't get it. You have to start. I used to be, back in the day, believe it or not, super private. I didn't share certain things. People thought what they, wanted. But I don't want that type of responsibility.
Right.
I want you to know that I'm your sister and I'm
Absolutely.
human and I'm going to share that.
Right.
But Les Brown says we ask for help not because we're weak, it's because we want to remain strong.
Strong,
Yeah.
right? You don't
Yes.
wanna get
So
down
you
to that
say, you
point.
know what? I don't have the energy today. I don't have the bandwidth today to do that. You have to start being human. If you're walking around like Superwoman and then someone throws you a cape and you're walking around here, I'm strong, I'm a Superwoman, and somebody throws you a cape, don't get mad.
Yeah, because that's what you
That's
what you
train them.
portray.
Train
That's
them.
what you portray.
Train them that way.
So you
Yeah.
have to portray yourself in reality, in real time. I'm not good today.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
You know?
where doing your work, I had to learn that.
Yes.
Because I had to learn that I could shut down. I could have time to myself.
Yes.
I don't have to be there for everyone. I don't have to, answer everybody's questions. I don't have to be
Right.
the only one that does this and does that. I had to kind of
Yes.
pull back and go, look, if I pull back and everything that's drops, then that tells me something. Because if I'm not there to do it and I'm seeing it's not being done, I guess we're going to have to figure it out then. Because I can't do it all no more. I can't. I had to tell myself that, doing my work and going through the loss and all that. And it's it's taught me. That's the thing. And that's another thing about doing your work. You always find the positive in everything that goes
Yes.
through. Even though to you it's negative and it's not. Because Marlon Wayans just said this and he's amazing. I love him. He said, everything that happens to you is happening to you. Is happening for you, not to
Not
you.
to
for
you.
And
Yes.
there's always something in that you're supposed to learn from. But
Yes.
you're too busy being on the ego trip. You're not listening to what's happening. You're supposed to learn. Learn and stop trying to complain about what's happening
That's
to you.
right.
Yeah.
And so now I'm getting that. So I'm everything that's happened to me is a reason for it, and it's growing me. It's making me a better person, and I accept it all.
Yes.
Because I know God's given to me what I could bear.
Yes.
So I understand that now. But I know at one point I wasn't, and I didn't get it, and I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is it like this? And God's like, because I gave this to you because you are that person. You are that person. I gave you, that's a skill.
Yeah.
That's a trait. That's
Yeah.
a blessing.
Yeah.
That's your thing. Everybody doesn't have that. You're expecting that from people that can't give it to you.
That's it. And you're not supposed to get it from the
Right.
people that you,
There you
the
go.
people
That's
that
it.
you help are not
That's
supposed
it.
to be the people
Tip for
that help
tat.
you.
Yes.
Tip for
Yes.
tat.
Because sometimes you're asking people for something that they don't have the capacity
Because
to
they
give.
see you up here,
And they
so
see
they don't
that.
know that they don't have
Right.
anything to give you
Right.
because you're helping them. So
Exactly.
you cannot expect to get help from the people that are
Exactly.
helping.
And
that
you
you're
want the
helping.
same exact
Right.
help. You're
Yeah.
looking for I gave you 1,255. I want 1,255 back.
Right. And we're talking about relationships. Women have to stop acting perfect and like super women because a man still has to have a place.
Gotta know what
I
they
don't
saying.
want to wear the pants all the time.
Right. We had
I
that
don't wanna
conversation
open my
last
door.
night. Yes.
I don't want.
We said
I'm a
that
lady
last night.
first.
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
not going to pretend all the women be like, I don't need no man. Yes,
I've been
you do.
taking out my
Yes,
trash.
you
I
do.
don't need you
No,
to take
I
out
don't
my
know.
trash.
I can open my own door. Yeah,
Right,
I can.
no.
I got hands, see, but I don't want. You
I don't
know what I
want
mean?
to.
It's,
Right. I
it's
don't
like
want
we
to.
have to stop being. I'm gonna say it. The man.
Yes.
If you're a heterosexual woman, right? And you want a man, then stop acting like the man.
Right.
And I know some people be like, well, we're liberated. Yes, we are.
Yes.
But at the same time,
I still
like
want to be treated
soft
like a
and
lady.
pink is what I call it.
Yeah.
I like to be
Exactly.
soft and pink. I'm a woman. I want to feel like a woman. I don't want to feel like I'm about to do, have a basketball competition with my man and we both dudes on there and he hit me on my chest. No, we're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm a woman and we have to stop being the thing that we want, right? Meaning that we want a man, but we want to have all the traits as a man and we're heterosexual. Right? We want a man to treat us kind and to treat us and hug us and kiss us and all of the things, right? but yet if he's like this, feeling like he's dating a man, then he's not going to be that with you. He's going to be hard and tough. So then when you have your feelings of sensitivity, he's going to be like, man, I feel that over here, Kendall. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop. And and sometimes with women wanting to do it all. I know we can do it all. We're super women. We can do it all. There's a lot of things we can do, like the little kid, we can do the things that the man can do, right? All of those things. But sometimes, like the TikTok trend say, get somebody else to do it.
That's right.
Like, get somebody else to do it. Outsource some of those things. Get somebody else to do it, because what's happening is stress is killing us, right? We're trying to do everything all the time.
But that's the thing that is happening in relationships, because they doing the man thing, right? And a lot of women don't want to let go of control.
Yes.
They have issues of control issues, and they don't want to let it go. But yet they argue with the man because the man's acting like that, bumping at them. And they go on like, I'm a woman, what you doing?
And you pounding me, give me a hug. Why you pounding me up? Like, why you like this? Why you doing that?
That's the reason. You want both. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're either going to be the woman or you're going to be by yourself. You can't have the man and be the man and be the woman
now,
and be the man.
I know somebody's going to be like, well, we don't have gender roles. Everybody's going to say that, and that's what people are saying now. And I get it, but y'all know what I'm saying.
But I mean, for the ones that this is for, it's for.
Yes.
So I'm talking to the people that this is for. So if you want a man, you can't have a man. And let me tell you, I get it. We have been trained because we are single mothers.
Come on.
You know, we didn't have the man in the house sometimes. We wasn't raised with fathers. So it was honestly given to us. And I get it. But we have to do the work and realize that we want that man that, you know, but you have to do your work, because if you don't, you're going to have daddy issues. You're going to bring that in there. You're going to bring in the situation that the father left us with me and these kids. And, you know, I don't know if you're going to leave me too. If you got all that in you, then you got to do your work before you do that. You know, and let the man be a man, because he's trying to find a place. And I've been faulted for that. And I have to be one. I'm sorry.
Needs to be needed.
I was that person because they didn't know where to fall.
It's happened to
They
me.
didn't know. They was like, I don't know. You don't need me. I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, you're a great person, but where is my space in here? Because you do everything.
Yeah, one time I was in a relationship, right? And it was something as simple as he wanted to go get my car washed. And I was like, well, I could go get my car washed. I go right over there. I get my car washed. He was like, I'm trying to get your car washed. This was in my 30s, right? I'm trying to get your car washed. And he was like, okay, then. And I have to look back. Like, you know what? I caught myself in that moment, because we are used to doing so much. And yes, we can do it. But allow that man, because a man has to feel his place.
Right. Yes.
Right? And if you're squeezing him out of his place, he doesn't know what God taught him to do is to be that man. Right? And if he's trying to fill that space and be that man, but you're that man, then you're going to be like this.
They bumping.
Right.
They bumping.
You know what I mean?
Bump.
Right. Doing the little bump. Because he has to, a man, people think that men are so different from us, but we're more alike than different. And they need the same things that we need. But somewhere down the line, society has us thinking that they don't need the same things. Right? And if we understand that they have their position, we have our position, I think marriages and relationships would be a little healthier.
Yeah, more
but
in
once
sync.
again, everybody is in competition.
That's huge.
And nobody is playing their part. Everybody wants to play somebody else's part. Everybody, if you act like you're on a team, when you win, I win. How can we win?
Right, together.
And if I'm winning and I'm over here like, you the loser. We both lost. I'm not trying to be no loser.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're winning together. Let's see how we can work together.
Right.
And so many people don't work together.
We have a question in the audience.
All right,
Yes.
audience.
All right. So,
Hi, ladies. My name is Coy from South Beach, Miami. And in a situation where you've been hurt before, how do you know you really healed to start a new relationship? And this question is for all ladies on the panel. And by the way, this is a great show.
thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
You said about being healed. Do you know?
Like, how do you know you've been healed in that area after you've had some time out of that relationship? So I would just, like we talked about, if we do the healing, so I have to, like I gave an example to the ladies last night. I knew I was healed when I can be in a relationship and not tolerate the same things. Right? The things that if he did this or said that, I would just let it go because I didn't want to be rejected. I knew I was healed when those things happened. And I'm like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I don't receive that. You're not supposed to do that, or I don't accept you doing that. That's when I knew I was healed and I knew I was a different person in my relationships because I no longer tolerated the things that I tolerated in the former relationships.
Good answer.
Yes.
All right, we do have another question.
The trigger. He said every lady you want.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had something to say on that? Go ahead.
Sure. I knew I was healed basically when I could talk about the situations and the challenges that I went through without being sort of emotionally upset.
Yes.
I can talk about it from like an onlooking perspective, more
healed
right,
perspective.
versus getting all of my feelings again and getting angry and getting triggered within me. So that's when I knew.
That's a big
And
one.
mine is when the triggers, like when those smells used to bring you back, or you rode past a place and you was like, when you can say, you know what, or smile at it, be like, that was the old life, and not like where it gets you all bubbly and upset, you all angry again, and that happened 20 years ago. Right. You're not healed. But when you can be like, I remember when that happened. Ain't God good? Look at you,
Look at me now, right?
That's when you know.
Dodge a bullet.
Yep.
Dodge a bullet.
Exactly.
All right, we have another question, Carla.
Hi, my name is Jackie, and I have a question. I am in a relationship with my boyfriend, and we're kind of like two broken people. Like, how do we work through like his past and my past so that we can like be healthy together?
One thing is good is y'all both know y'all broken.
Right.
That's a good start. That's a real good start. At least you know.
Y'all both Humpty Dumpty.
At least y'all both know that there's something happening. So that's going to at least give you the place to receive.
Yes.
So that's a great start.
good.
So now y'all able to receive together. So now y'all need to kind of know like what platform we're going to use. Are we going to go to the therapist? Are we going to go to a counselor? Are we going to do life coaching? Are we going to do, there's some programs you could do like books together. You could do, or you want to go to church to a counselor there. Like find out what y'all comfortable with doing. And then y'all could do it together and y'all both feel good about it. Because you don't want one person to say, I want to do this and go over here. And this other person's like, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it because you want to do it. They're not going to be in it. So y'all got to agree upon what you want to do to heal. But at least you know you need to heal. That is half of the battle to me.
Right.
So what do y'all think?
Absolutely.
I would say, would you agree that sometimes breaking up is a part of that healing, right? I might need to heal on my own, and you might need to heal on your own, because together we're not, like whatever it is I'm dealing with, I might need to deal with on my own.
So how do you know if that's kind of like what you need to do? We've been together for like about 1.5 years now.
So it sounds like you guys are having the conversation already. I think that's the most important thing. Like she said, you both know that you are broken and you guys are having the conversation. The next step would be to find out how are we going to move forward in this healing.
Yeah, especially 1.5 years. So
Yeah.
that's a
You might
beginning
be
stages. So,
yeah.
But that's really no time. Well, now we can kind of see it. Like when we were like 18, that was like a lifetime, right?
Right.
But when you are our age or even older, it's not a lot of time. So maybe you could step back and go, okay, let's just take this relationship back to the beginning. Let's just court and date each other and or get help and do it in that matter. So you don't feel that pressure on having that relationship and having to, like you said. So it's like you may don't have to officially for quote unquote break up, but you could say, let's go back to the courting. Let's go back to get to know each other. I think we didn't learn each other. I think that's the problem here.
Yeah, and I would also ask, what does broken look like?
Right.
And are you broken in the same places and triggering one another? That's what I would
So that's
ask.
the- yeah.
You
That's
know,
the point.
are you
Maybe
broken?
you need to be
Because what does it
separated.
look like? Because broken to you may look like
Right.
something different from me,
Right.
and it might not be brokenness.
Right.
It might just be a place of healing and not quite broken. It might be bent a little bit,
Right.
but it's not broken. So I would ask that to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a good one.
Like you guys are not triggering each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe after you do the counseling, you could see that maybe this person or is not for you.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you do your own healing inside of that
Oh, yes.
Yes.
couple healing.
Right.
And that's another thing I always tell my clients when they come in. I said, I'll put that down. We ain't going to read nothing yet. Let me talk to you. When you're about to change, that means you're going to change. There's no guarantee where the change is going to fall. It could be your parents, it could be your husband, it could be your best friend, it could be your cousin and them. When things happen, when you change, there's no right or reason on how the change is going to happen. So you may lose your mama.
Yeah.
You may lose your husband. You may lose your best friend, because when you do the change, when them eyes open and you take those glasses off, you see the world differently. You don't see the world the same way no more. And the same people that you are dealing with and you are entertaining and you're tolerating, you're not going to be able to do it no more. And you're going to be, and they're going to go, what the world? What's going on here? I'll be like, I know, I can't though. I can't do this no more. Because now you feel like you're suffocating, because when you do your work, there's something about that work that piece gets shaken. You go, oh no, I can't go back to where I can't go. So I felt that it's like an earthquake.
Look, everybody else feel that.
Look, everybody else feel
know.
Because you feel that
absolutely.
piece about to be shooken, and when you feel that piece about to be, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. You're able to release easier.
Yes.
So right now
So
you're
true.
sitting in front of me as the day one, week one, and of course right now you hold on to everything. But as we go through this thing, you're going to start looking at people differently, and you're going to start saying, oh, saying healthy, this is toxic. I'm going to let this go. And you're going to lose people. So you got to be ready for that, because I don't want you to come here and blame me because you lose your husband.
Right.
It's not me. It's you waking up, and you realize that's not the person you supposed to be with anyway, because you were weak, you was low self-esteem, your validation issue, whatever it is, because I'm telling you, I could ask y'all, when y'all do that work,
But everybody is not going to be on board with your healing.
Correct.
Because they liked you the way you were.
They liked you
They
the way they
benefit
are
from you.
because it was working for them, right?
Yes.
Right.
But even if you go back, if you're trying to heal and you had childhood trauma, right? And you're going back to the people, okay, well, what happened? Or I need an apology or whatever it is. They're going to be like, that's old stuff. Why are you dealing with that?
Right.
Why are you dredging up old stuff? That's family business.
'Cause they haven't healed.
They haven't healed.
Right,
So
right,
just
right,
know, when you go on your healing journey, everybody is not going to be on board
That's
with
right.
the healing. But the thing is, when you're on that healing train, you don't want everybody on that train, right? You want to be able to heal peacefully. And when God gets a hold of you and he's doing that change, you don't need people saying, remember what you used to do or how you used to do, how da, because that's trying to take you back, because they don't know how to handle you when you're a changed person, because it was comfortable for them to be who you were to them, because it was comfortable. So now they're uncomfortable,
Right.
which has nothing to do with
Nothing
you,
to do with you.
because at all. Everybody ain't on that train. And when it's just like a train. I'm telling you, people are going to get off at several stops.
Yes, that's so
Everybody
true.
is not going to go to the same destination you're going to. This person is going to get off at this stop. That person's going to get off at that stop. That person. And whoever remains on that train, that's the key indicator. Meaning when they see, just think about each train stop, a healing place. You've healed from this. Now you go to the
They let
next
it go.
stop. You
Right.
heal
Like
from
that.
that.
There you go.
Yep.
So whoever is on board, literally and
Throughout the
figuratively,
process.
throughout the process
Yes.
on that train, they can make it to the end.
Yes.
And this is the new version of you. See, people have to grow with you.
That's right.
Because they're going to get left at the station.
And that-
Right?
but see,
so
that-
if
that's
they're
the whole
not
thing,
will,
though.
but the thing is, if the people who can't grow with you are the people who are stuck
Yep.
in their own
Absolutely.
healing.
Absolutely.
You know? And
lack
we
of.
have to understand, and I keep using these references, even when I coach and I speak, I use these because they're so crucial and a lot of people can understand. The movie Love Jones, right? Where he says, we've been together all these years. And she said, all we had was all these years, and it's just not enough for me anymore. People get caught up. I've been with this person for 20 years,
Yes.
30 years, 40
Yeah,
years. They get
39
caught
years.
up of the quantity and not the quality of the
the
relationship.
Right.
Because it's almost like a badge of honor. Because you
loyalty.
stuck and stayed with some foolishness and nonsense for 15 years, and now you want to brag about it. But how many of those years were you sleeping like this, right? Were you walking in the kitchen not talking to the person? Where you weren't having healthy conversations and arguments? People focus on the years and not the quality. Everybody wants to talk about it. I see people Facebook right now. We've been married 35 years. But in my head, I'm like, I've
Were
talked
they
to
good
you.
years?
You have been separated for 15.
Isn't that something?
Right? And I call you and say,
The
oh, you're
image.
back on track. No, I still can't stand him. He's still in the guest room. I know people, several people like that. And we have to stop faking the funk, because when
Yes.
people get into situations and marriages and relationships, this is why people think they're the only ones, because everybody is fake. And we're living in a society where everything is fake.
Right.
You have to find the real, right?
Right.
And when
Right.
people start sharing their stories, they give other people permission.
That's
And in
right.
the Black community, we're taught to sweep things under
Sweep
the
it
rug.
under the rug.
Don't tell
Take it to your
everybody your
grave.
business. Take it to your grave. But that's hurting us.
Yes.
We have to leave a legacy of healing and healthy relationships. And that's when we share our stories, we give permission to other people. You know what? It's not. When Michelle Obama said she didn't like President Obama for 10 years, people were going crazy. But I love the fact that she let you in to see,
Yes.
even as this first couple, we have issues. So that gives other people permission, like, you know what? Let's go to counseling, or
Right.
let's try to
Let's
work
work
this
through
out.
this.
Let's work through this. But so many people think that they're isolated and alone, and the only thing that they know is divorce. Well, mom got divorced, aunt got divorced, uncle got divorced, so this is what you do. Right? Now, I'm not saying stay for some nonsense and
Right,
foolishness
absolutely.
and abuse and
right.
all of that. Not at all.
Right.
But when you're ready to just go instead of sticking and staying, you have to ask yourself why. Ask yourself, is it because I don't want to deal with it? Because it's bringing up too much for me? Or because it's whatever? And you really have to ask yourself those questions. But I promote healthy relationships, because it has to be healthy in communication, sex, intimacy,
Yes.
spirituality, finances, all of that. People think healthy relationship is just communication. It's
Right.
so much more.
Right.
You know, it's actually it's a list
Everything.
of things that
Yeah.
you had to
Right.
put together and make it work. Like you made a good point about, just being a Christian. You still got to do other things that will make that marriage or a relationship work. But we're gonna get ready to close out. But what we got to remember is we got to put us first. I hope you got that out of
Yes.
this whole thing today. That you got to work on you. You got to put yourself first. You got to do all this first, build your foundation up. And then at that point, you can add other people in. What we are doing is we're putting the cart in front of the horse. So the horses, you can't do that. You got to take care of you first. Everybody running to try to get a couple, couples, I want relationship goals, and you want to have a boyfriend. I want to have a girlfriend. I get it, because society trained us. We was little kids. They was like, oh, you need to have a boyfriend. He's like, your girlfriend. Oh, that's so cute. You go to the
we go
prom.
together?
Then you go together. And then after you go to the prom, you go to college, and then you get a college sweetheart. Then you get married. You get the 2.5 kids and a dog and a fence. And then you live this life, and you still haven't even know who you are.
Right.
That's
You
what it
have
is.
not
It's
even
miserable
been
right there.
asked
Come on, that's
who
right.
you
Right.
are.
Who are you?
I guarantee you, I bet you about maybe 1% of the people that's watching this, have anyone ever asked you, who are you?
Somebody said, ask my husband.
Has that anybody said, who are you? You need to find out who you are, because we are not trained to know who we are. We are trained to just come out the womb and run. And they got this system for us. This is what you're supposed to do at this age. This is what you're supposed to do at this age. This is what you got. So now when you're 50-something years old and you're single, that's why you feel bad, because society told you, you're supposed to have a husband. You're supposed to have kids. Everyone don't want kids. Everyone's not supposed to have kids. God said, I need you to be kids for these people in this shelter. I need you to be a teacher. I don't want you to have kids, because you're going to have 8,000 of them in this classroom. God designs our lives sometimes that's not the way society decides our lives.
Right.
So you got to let go of that, because when you let go of that, God will use you and do what he got to do with you. But you're fighting against the attraction here, because you want to do it the way society told you what to do. And that's the problem. And when we release that, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I'm working on it, but I'm still getting the benefits, because I understand now. When things don't happen the way I think they're supposed to happen, I go, no, it's happening the way it's supposed to happen. When I have events and when I do things, I used to be on the number game.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta have this. I gotta have that. I gotta have this. I don't do that no more, because I know wherever it happens, God's gonna put my
That's
name
right.
in rooms that are
That's
gonna
right.
be
That's
without
right.
me
That's
in them.
right.
That's right.
God's gonna take what we doing, and he's gonna do what he gotta do with it. And I say, I don't worry about that no more. I used to worry about that, but then I knew that was the devil, because the devil told you, society says you're
Gotta
supposed
be
to
this
have
big
this,
thing.
you're supposed to have that,
You better have 500,000,
You don't have-
5,000
exactly.
people.
And you supposed to have so many followers and
And
likes.
you
Don't
ain't
get me
doing
wrong.
nothing if you-
I love the likes. I love the follows. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
appreciate them. I always, hey, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Da da da. But if one person says, you saved my life today, because
Yes.
I was
Come
going
on.
to
Yes.
save my life today.
Yes.
But when
This
I
video
heard
was
you,
for me.
This video was for me.
when I
Yes.
heard that one person said, you made a difference in my
Yeah,
life
that's
today.
it.
God
That's
said
what
your
it's
job
about.
is done.
Yes,
That's what
because
it's
we
about.
celebrate the people who are not here. Like when you have an event or a party, you're like, oh, this person didn't come. This person said, instead of embracing and celebrating the people who did show up.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Most of the time, we have to switch our focus. We always think about what didn't happen. We need to learn to start celebrating what did happen. Okay, how are we affecting the people who
Gratitude.
are here?
That's it.
We
That's
have
it.
to walk in a state of gratitude constantly. And if we focus on the blessings and the gratitude, we less likely focus on what didn't happen. Stop having a party where everybody's like, oh, this person didn't come, or this person's supposed to come, oh, it's supposed to be 10 people, supposed to be 15, supposed to be 20 people, right? We're focusing all the people didn't come, and then we're ignoring the people
Right.
who are here.
Right. And,
Right.
And we're like,
ignoring
yeah,
them, and
we're the energy is put on the people who
that
aren't here.
there. And
right.
I mean, and then, okay, I'm gonna close it up. We got to go. So one thing that people would do too is go before they come. Now, this is an analogy for life. Before they
gonna be
come
there?
to your life, who's there?
Right.
Who's there?
Who all there?
Who's
That's
there?
what they say.
And
Who
they,
all
and
there?
they want you to list everyone that's in the house before
For
they
them to
come.
decide.
Let me tell you something. Like
who
I
made the
always
potato
say,
salad?
be careful of the people you allow in your mansion because they
Yes.
don't even deserve to be in your hallway. All right?
Yes.
So when people do that, that's a nice analogy for life. When people ask you who's at your life and showing up for you, are you here?
Right.
If you're here, that's all you need to
That's
worry
all
about.
that
That's all you
matters.
need to worry about. So, we are done. I hope you enjoyed it. And before we do that, I'm going to go around the horn. I want you to let everybody know who you are and how can they find you and how can they follow you. You can start.
So again, my name is Clarissa Law, and I am the transformational life coach. I can be found on all social media platforms, Clarissa Y Law and Purpose by Design Coaching and Consulting. I'm also a published author, an Amazon bestseller, Words of Wisdom for the Heart and Soul. My first book is a journal, Purpose by Design, Journal of Prayers and Affirmations. And the purpose of that book is to help people understand that their words have power. They have the power to speak the world that they want. And if they start changing the words that they say, they will start seeing their life change around them. I believe that if you look around your life and you don't like it, you spoke it. If you look around your life and you're happy, you spoke it. My most recent book is Queen's Chronicles, Letters to a Sister Queen. And that book tells about my story of healing from mother hurt. And so I'm sure that either of those books will bless you. You can reach me at Purpose by Design, 7 at gmail.com. And again, on social media platforms, Clarissa Y Law and Purpose by Design Coaching and Consulting.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Andrea Stuckey, the master life and divorce, your favorite life divorce coach. I'm on all social media platforms at divorce_coach7, but you can find my books, resources, merch, everything at AndreaMStuckey.com, AndreaMStuckey, STUCKEY.com.
All right, it's Kendall Lenise. It's Kendall Lenise, your fave life coach, the remix coach. You can reach me on all social media platforms at Kendall Lenise. On TikTok, it is the remix coach. I have several books available on Amazon. We've talked about healing today. So one of my books is, You're Unhealed is showing, Healing Purposely and Aging Fearlessly. I share, that's my most personal, vulnerable book. And I talk about parts of my healing because I really want a community of healing. We talk about in legacy, leaving people houses and cars and all of that. But let's talk about leaving the legacy of healing, right? And breaking generational, what people call curses, but it's just unhealed behavior.
Right.
So, and also I have several books available on Amazon.com. But for more information about me, if you're looking for a life coach and you want a free consultation conversation, you can go to KendallLenise.com and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a show on there called Remixing Relationships. It's promoting healthy relationships and doing things differently.
Hey. And I am Regina Smithwick, your host, Let's Talk 1943. You can find me at rsenterprises.life. Everything's on there. I'm on all social media platforms. You can find me under Let's Talk 1943 or Ring Out Your Sponge as well. And before I close out, I want to say personally, thank you so much for y'all coming. Thank you for seeing this vision. Thank you for believing in me. And thank you for taking this time out of your busy schedules and days. And I'm going to say, this is what I'm talking about. Stop worrying about the people that's not at the party and celebrate the ones that did come to your party because they drove far to come here, just to go right back home, just to do this, because I have love for y'all, and I'm glad y'all have love for me. And celebrate those people in your life. You don't need a bunch of people. I had to learn it the hard way. But the ones that show up for you, that's the ones you celebrate, and you don't take people that tolerate you. You take people that celebrate you, right? So that is my word before I leave out today. And thank you so much for being here. Let's Talk 1943. You can see this show on Your Home TV network. Your Home TV network. That is my channel. Let's Talk 1943 is on that network. I'm proud to be a member of a channel partner on this amazing network. And you can find me on YouTube under Let's Talk 1943. All right, until next time, God bless. Love you.